is 9:30 on Thursday night. Radio and beyond between one and only day. I'm late. No, I'm Chip. Wait, did I get that right? Okay. Hi, I'm Chip. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Chip.
How's your Oscar hanging?
Well, he's leaning to the right these days. But,
Oh, that's a little rough for you.
It balances out with the rest of Hollywood.
Yes, right. Very funny. So this is going to be a wild week of Chip Chat. We got counter-programmed by the State of the Union last week. And
the whole world's working against you, man.
Yeah, it was tough. Fortunately, we were the second funniest thing on TV that night after Joey B slaughtering the Republicans to their face.
No, we know what the funniest thing on TV was that night.
MTG?
Katie Britt.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's funny. That's a little scary.
That was hilarious. Until she gets elected to higher office. Then
it's already a little scary of like how emotionally unstable she seemed to be. So we had all that. And then the Oscars happened.
Yep.
Which I hear 4 or 5 people watched.
A couple.
I think with 35 million, something like that.
I actually didn't hear.
The State of the Union was 35 million.
I actually didn't hear what the numbers were.
It was
for this year's telecast.
It was good. I heard.
I would imagine with 2 of the biggest films of the year being up for Best Picture, that it would be, and the promise of Billie Eilish, Ryan Gosling, John Batiste performing, that would get it up from last year. Yeah,
it's hard to get it up these days in Hollywood. After
but Lord knows they tried.
They did. So speaking of getting it up, we have a video guest joining us to also inject a little politics into your, let's just say, film. Okay. So Brian set this up for us. We have Sarah St. Clair joining us. Now, I know you don't know who Sarah St. Clair is. I also did not know because I'm not an aficionado, but I was able to look her up. She has an Instagram. So she is going to join us. If you do know who she is, go clear your browser history. Don't let your wife see that.
She's no Jeff Stryker. I'll tell you that.
Is that a famous one? Yeah. Okay. Well, you would know.
I'm gonna have to brush you up on your gay porn stars.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not the expert that I purport to be. Hey, Tez. Hello.
You call yourself a progressive.
Yeah, right. I don't know all of my gay porn stars. It happens. Yeah, I know. Well, at least you're here, Tez, so you can help fill it in.
Yeah,
that's right. You're also the expert.
The expert is sat down.
So speaking of experts of things, though, we're also going to have Chip Chat Marketplace, which has apparently become a bit of a segment on this show because apart from interest in politics, movies, and porn, we're also into monetary policy on this show. So, nominally.
Well, you gotta let your Jew out somewhere.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. We need
Black capitalism.
Yeah.
or as it's sometimes called blackitalism.
After Miss St. Clair
Nixon had that one.
makes us hard, we need a good soft landing.
Oh God, there you go.
So we're gonna my own bell for that one. So we'll have our marketplace segment. Also, we're gonna find out which apps are banned, why the Jets are really upset that they signed Aaron, and a Tez talk, I guess, about those apps. I wrote it for you.
Yeah, thanks.
So
Look,
I was hoping you would know about it.
I do.
We have 2 guests this week, so I kept it short.
Can they change the back of his jersey from Rodgers to buyer's remorse?
That's hilarious. I heard somebody on Twitter say that if he gets the VP nod, it makes Zach Wilson third in line of the presidency. That was hilarious.
Well, there's already.
Hey, well, at least now we can have someone to compete with Macron and his much older wife.
Yeah, sure.
And didn't look, this falls in line because the owner, right, of the Jets, wasn't he ambassador to England?
He was.
Yeah. So he looked. That's
He's
the
also
Jets.
Like a raging douchebag.
He is. Yeah. The Jets are known to send people to administration.
Yes, that's right. Famously, Secretary of State Joe Namath. It's Broadway Joe.
First Secretary of State to ever do panty commercials.
Yeah. No, Kissinger.
Being that we have.
Yeah, that's lost to the annals of history.
Don't be too happy about the Kissinger fatality because you have to remember he also banged your mom. I'm sure of it. Everybody's mom. Everybody listening, Kissinger's. Yeah,
probably.
Pretty good bet.
I mean, how can you resist a voice like this?
Yeah, and the shuffling amble across the.
And
Right.
those
Well, we know he's here to
those
please.
inner thighs that scrape together.
Isn't that his whole thing? Because
Yeah.
you're saying it's here
And
to
those
please.
inner thighs that scrape together like sandpaper.
Oh my God! All right, thanks for the visual.
Mm.
So Charlie, are you gonna help play the word game with us? You
Yes,
actually know how
yes,
this works, so I don't have
yes.
to explain
Yep.
it to you. Do you have a word?
Oh God, do I have a word? Yes.
Oh, that's your okay.
Got
Got a word?
I got a word.
All right, we're gonna try this out. So, sit back, grab some.
LimeWire.
It's
Atomic.
surprise time. You're listening to the best show, the only show, Chip John, Beltway Radio and beyond.
Swift. That's a heavy hand. Yeah.
And also Charlie.
Howdy.
So, Charlie, we have you here to talk about Oscars and also to make you do the voices of things.
Yeah.
But now, first, before we do that, we're going to talk about Haiti, which is definitely a fun topic.
Come back to always to the fun stuff.
This is a show that's known for hilarity and lighthearted conversation.
A fun romp.
Yeah. So, all right, we need to talk about Haiti because it is right on our southern border, which apparently people care about every 4 years. And
what's Haiti without U.S. involvement?
that's right. And
What's any country without U.S. involvement?
but also sort of what's Haiti without the rest of the world, not just the Americans, badly misunderstanding what's Haiti. Like, it is one of the things where universally every single country seems to have an idea of what should happen to this country, and none of them involve asking the Haitians at all. So also it's worth mentioning that quite a lot of the people who are seeking asylum at the US-Mexico border are from Haiti.
Yeah.
They are escaping from war and asking for asylum. So
remember some of those pictures we saw that, look very
who's whipping who?
Yeah, look very reminiscent
Those
of
were mostly Haitians.
Yeah.
So and President Wycliffe cannot save them this time. So we have to talk about it. So here's what's going on in Haiti. It is overrun by violence. So much so that the embattled sort of prime minister was off trying to get support for this UN peacekeeping force, which always goes well in Haiti, and he could not get back into the country because the airport was overrun.
Yeah, they seized the airport.
Now, I want to say something before we get too far into this. Every publication I've read or seen anybody talking about this has referred to the people committing the violence as gangs. And today on the way up, I was listening to The World, as I do, and they had somebody who actually did speak to some Haitians who described them not as gangs, but for everybody to remember that they are all politically affiliated. So a better way to think of them is the armed wings of various political factions.
Right.
Would rebels be like a colloquial term to use for that, or does that still go into like gang territory?
I think the right way to think of this is a civil war, and that these are like non-government, or they're political parties essentially with armed factions. That's it. So it's like what we saw.
How else are you a political party?
What's the difference between a terrorist and a country or whatever? It's like a flag and a navy or something. That's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
or even look back to their former colonial masters, right? I mean,
it is. Well, yeah, the whole we are fed up with the political process. Viva la revolution is a very French way of doing it.
And even just for Haiti to become Haiti, that's the reason why it's that, because they were like, wait, you guys is passing this shit around? Wait, we believe in that shit too. And
well, right. So before they got stolen from Africa, those people were like, okay, well, we'll settle our differences peacefully and through learning and books and whatever. And then they meet the French, and the French are some violent, bloodthirsty revolutionaries all the time. And they're like, whoa. And they learned from them. You don't like shit, get the guillotine. Okay. We don't have guillotines out right now. We've got assault rifles that they mostly got from the security forces because they are, again, part of political factions. So Ariel Henry got stuck outside of Haiti trying to get back because he had gone to Kenya. Now, you might be thinking, well, why on God's green earth would he be going to East Africa?
Because he needs the police.
Because he needs to borrow the cops from Kenya.
Oh, my God.
He had to go to the one African country that doesn't have a civil war going on.
He had to go to the one of the more stable African countries. So basically, here's the thing. The world did learn one thing from the last several interventions in Haiti, which is if the UN is going to muck up stuff in Haiti, it better have a black face doing it. So they went and asked the AU and some of the other African countries, hey, do you want to help with this? And most of them were smart enough to say no. But Kenya was like, sure.
Yeah.
And so the UN voted on it, and they gave them a mandate, and they said, okay, you're going to go to Haiti. And then Kenya was like, well, we don't actually have any people. We're not really ready to do this. It's been 2 years since this was voted on. And so meanwhile, situation's gotten much, much worse. The president was assassinated.
I was going to say, right.
Maybe by the prime minister. We don't know.
Right,
or his wife, who maybe is trying to kill him currently. It is very... What are the soap operas? Dawson's Creek? What's
Dawson's Creek?
The teen soaps?
No, the ones on the daytime where they're always killing each other.
Days of Our Lives and stuff like that.
Days of Our Lives, but with guns. And so all of that's going on, and everybody's watching this on fire. DR, which has a land border with Haiti, was like, yo, this dude can't even land in our country because these people who live nearby are going to be mad and they're going to come after him and shit. Bad situation.
They couldn't guarantee his safety.
That's correct. It's also worth noting that Ariel Henry is a former neurosurgeon, much like Ben Carson.
I mean,
he was appointed by the guy who was assassinated, by the way, Jovenel Moise. So, it's all going very well.
I don't know. It's always troubling because when you look at Haiti, the history has to play into it, and it's almost like they were set to fail from the beginning because of what they did, right? And it's like, all right, you want to overthrow a country,
a white country,
yeah, and from there's been intervention from, again, multiple, factions, I guess, of imperialism around the world.
Sure,
and it's always one of those things. It's like, all right, well, do you say, all right, we let the Haitians figure it out themselves, right? But it's almost like it's hard. It's almost hard in the sense where you've never laid the foundation for safe elections, right? Things of that nature.
Or basic infrastructure.
Just basic infrastructure. Right? The people that take a shit.
Remember after the earthquake?
Yes.
Yeah. And the rest of the world was like, okay, this is an opportunity. And it was kind of an opportunity because everything was knocked down, and you could invest in Haiti under the guise of relief for the earthquake and rebuild some basic infrastructure and also help civil society sort of get on its feet and all of that. And instead, what happened was a bunch of empty pledges and not enough in direct investment. And once again, it was a failure. So your point is well taken. But also, the rest of the world just forgets this place exists
Yeah.
until it's
Yeah.
on fire. And then now that it's on fire, I've heard some of these diplomats say things like, we got to let them sort it out. And you go, well, how? And the Americans forced Ariel Henry to give this address where he said he would step down immediately after the installation of this transitional council, the makeup of which is totally undefined. And how would they be granted any mandate? The people don't necessarily want it. Nobody's asked anybody there. They can't really ask anybody there.
Yeah.
It's not safe enough to even conduct basic operations. It is true that it was set up to be this, but we are now in an absolute shitstorm.
And we'll be here again, which is sad. It seems to be that
it's hard to imagine a solution that I can't think of anything that doesn't first involve a lot of violence.
Yeah.
If the UN forces come in,
no one's gonna. Yeah, it's not.
UN's gonna be a disaster.
Yeah,
it's gonna be like Bosnia all over.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, no, it's very similar to that. You've got these. They're not ethnic factions, but you do have political factions with guns, and somebody is going to have to go and kill all of them hard enough that they decide to have elections. And we have learned, even most recently in Gaza, that killing people very strongly in excess doesn't make them knuckle under and go, all right, let's have elections. No. It just pisses them off more. So I guess grab your popcorn and watch this place burn to the ground.
It's one of the many international things where it basically comes down to you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah. How do we help?
I'm not sure on that one because again, where does the aid go to at this point? I mean, I think that has to be at first. Is that you have to
just drop Sean Penn on them and see if he can help them.
That's right. He always.
Oh my.
Thanks, Charlie. We appreciate the insight. No, he's right. I mean, it's as good an idea as anything else.
Yeah, I don't.
Plus, it might get rid of Sean Penn.
That too.
Yeah.
I don't know what like U.S. intervention there isn't going to look good because we've seen what that is in the past. I don't know what other I don't know how you can ask other countries who are already kind of short on resources to try to be a supplement here. I'm not sure who comes in. There's not like a superhero that's going to come in and save the day to this.
CARICOM gave a mandate and stuff, so there's like the political cover for it. But listen to the empty word salad coming out of Tony Blinken. He said that.
Oh, he's in Jamaica. Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Jamaica to go talk about this. And the escalating violence has created an untenable situation for the Haitian people. No shit. Way to go. We support the plan to create a broad-based, inclusive, independent presidential college, he said, of the Transitional Council. What does that mean?
That sounds like a bingo card of words.
The mission is expected to deploy soon, Tony Blinken said, to reinforce the Haitian National Police, this is the Kenyans, and they're going to, quote, create the security conditions that are necessary to hold free and fair elections, to allow humanitarian assistance to get to people who need it, and to help put Haiti back on a path to economic opportunity and growth.
So the Kenyans who already weren't prepared over 2 years are going to go in to stop what is already happening, which they were supposed to be there already to prevent this from going down.
And they're going to fight a bunch of people on turf that they have no idea what it's like. They've never been there.
Yeah, no.
And these people are dug in and know everything about it. They've got all kinds of support from the people. What are the Kenyans going to do? They're going to get slaughtered.
I don't know. It's a sad situation. To be so close to this country and then to feel like there's not like
back when we had a Kenyan president, I felt a little more confident about this. But now, what are we going to do?
I don't know. And Kenya has enough things that they could probably be figuring out in their own damn country, to be honest, to be sending folks other places. But I don't know. I mean, you would think that the UN, this is what that's supposed to. The UN is supposed to be that. And a lot of folks would say, well, American troops, but we just know American troops don't go over well in Haiti.
The last time the blue helmets were in Haiti, they raped everybody
and
cholera.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's not do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that after the earthquake?
That was before the earthquake.
Oh, it was before the earthquake.
Yeah.
Okay.
These were a bunch of guys from like Bhutan or
wherever. I remember that
okay.
story. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Right. internally, it's like, yo, we should be able to deploy forces to go in, stop the violence, set up humanitarian aid.
We are the closest.
But that doesn't happen.
No, because we have this terrible reputation of going in there and just doing nothing.
Because I think that's how
Throwing
the world feels about the Haitian people.
That does.
I think that goes back to my original point, is that they were made to feel a certain way, again, for overthrowing slavery in their country. And that seems to be a through line still to this day, because we don't look at them as like people who deserve help.
We look at them as Haitians, not people.
Exactly.
And
so
it's not the people of Haiti, but as Haitians.
And like just some like great people, like of history, of like cuisine, of like understanding, like just cultivating the earth, and like I don't know. It's the modern day world wouldn't even be what it is without Haiti.
That's very true.
Like it wouldn't be it. So I don't know. That story is very sad. But also, like, the president was murdered. That's like doesn't happen
by a squad of maybe some American Marines and Venezuelans. It really reads like a choose your own adventure where the person doing the choosing has smoked several blunts, and they're just like grabbing words and throwing them on the page and going like, "That's one of your choices."
Fucking
Chat GPT. I think that's beyond blunts. I think
it's a Chat GPT country.
I think it was beyond blunts. I think that's cocaine at that point.
Yeah, right.
It is something. I'm telling you. I mean, imagine if somebody told you this story about an island nation in a paradise.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Where these lists of things had happened. That the natives were slaughtered by the French. They were replaced by enslaved people from Africa who then overthrew the French and were punished for 100 years for having done that. Circle around to some U.S. Marines. The Fugees came. There was this, that, and the other. There's a soup. And then, like, randomly, Venezuelan death squad assassinates the president with his wife's help and appoints a guy who's a neurosurgeon. And you're like, what are you on, dude? It sounds crazy.
I wish I had worked.
I don't even know where to write a check
to. I was gonna say, where does humanitarian aid go for this right now? I don't know.
There was a story on the radio where they were like, people couldn't even send money back by wire because there was nobody there to get it. And like the transactions couldn't go through. The infrastructure is broken down so badly.
That's a shame. It's a shame that happens, that this continuously happens to that country. And like, also again, where it sits, it's always ripe for a natural disaster at the same time.
Yeah, no,
that's just scary.
Hurricanes alone.
Like it's always
mudslides.
It's never like,
it's just going to obliterate everything. I mean, oh God.
Terrible story.
Poor people. There is a solution, which is basically you grant them asylum. I mean, let the people leave and help them out.
Oh my God. Yeah. We do it in other places.
Somehow there's a 1 foot rule for the Cubans.
Oh God, that is it.
What is that all about?
That is it. There, do you know what? There's the solution right there. We need someone in Haiti to declare that they're a communist nation. That's all we need.
Everybody flee and come here and get asylum. Even Greg Abbott would stand up for that.
But then, do people in this country? Jesus Christ. That's not ADA compliant, joke.
No.
You
can't just wheel those out like that.
Oh God. Oh God.
He should stand up for what is right.
Right. You know what? I'm gonna sit down and say nothing.
Okay. Is our guest in the bullpen? Good. Let's go right into the first thing that we made Charlie be here for, which is Oscars. Okay. Yes. So if you're watching on the video, you see that Charlie has brought his Oscar that he won for Best Director?
For producing Green Book.
There you go. That's right.
You're welcome.
Oh my God. Ouch.
It's like between
you think I'm bad.
It's like, right? You producing Green Book, Mnuchin producing Legos. We'll get to that.
He's going to be in the show
I know,
later.
Of course. Yeah, we know.
TikTok, it's coming. okay, so the Oscars happened.
Yep.
Jimmy Kimmel hosted again.
Yep.
He's like this generation's Billy Crystal, Whoopi Goldberg combined.
Yeah, kind of.
Is it that he has a contract with ABC?
That helps.
It's
That
like,
helps.
yo, we're paying you to
helps.
do this.
That helps, and it's probably been built into his contract at that
Got
point.
it, okay.
Into his contract.
Because he takes the Monday afterwards off, right? So they just count it as a regular show day.
Look, Stephen A. Smith, they use it ESPN. I always see him in Disney.
They could have
Disney, the mouse uses their they use their talent
Well,
everywhere.
a lot of like when networks get the Emmys, they'll usually go to someone that's within their someone that's within their network's corporate network to
Got
host.
it.
So like
well,
whenever
Trevor
they
Noah doing the Grammys, right? Like that's on
yeah,
CBS.
that's CBS and that's owned by
Paramount.
Paramount.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why Stephen Colbert hosted the Emmys
Right.
at
Got
one
it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of makes sense. All right. So Kimmel hosted. I watched the monologue. It was rocky.
Monologue was all right. It wasn't his. He's had better ones.
He's had better ones. He did bring out all the crew members and Teamsters and stuff.
That was a great
and
moment.
made
That was a great moment.
show of this being, it's like LA might be glitzy and everything, but it's really a union town. And we're gonna go along so you guys get your overtime tonight. Or whatever. It was a good joke.
Okay.
And he's sort of making light of the lockout and all of that kind of thing, or strike.
The lockout.
Yeah.
I was
Whatever. I was thinking it's kind of both.
It wasn't because they didn't stop making stuff because they had the wrong keys. Okay.
No, but I was thinking. I don't. You can see how much movies I watch.
The
compared to
sports,
sports.
yeah.
Sports, it's a lockout, but it's a strike and a lockout. It was both. The studios weren't letting anybody on the lot, and they were the blah 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 or whatever. Okay, so otherwise, how was the Oscars compared to where people expected them?
It was pretty much along the lines that we expected. Oppenheimer dominated the evening. 7 awards, including picture, director for Christopher Nolan, actor for Cillian Murphy, and supporting actor for the great Robert Downey Jr., who's now an Oscar winner.
I saw Kimmel making fun of him.
Yeah, well, the thing is that
much.
Downey has actually been very at the forefront of making light of his past.
Good, yeah, that's the right way to handle it.
The first thing he said when he got up on stage was, "I'd like to thank my terrible childhood and the Academy in that order."
Yeah, okay,
So,
good answer.
I mean, he's always been very upfront about it. He was presenting the visual years ago. He was presenting the visual effects award, and he said, "You can see monsters, or you can see this, or for me, any night in the mid '90s."
Yeah, right. So Robert Downey Jr. won for what?
Supporting actor.
Supporting actor. Okay. So how, all together, Oppenheimer took home, you said 7?
7. Yep.
And is that the most of anybody?
Of this year, yes,
this
the
year.
most of anybody.
What's the record for a film taking in a single Oscars?
11, and that was 3 films have done that.
Okay.
Ben-Hur in 1959,
Nobody cares about
Titanic in
that.
1997,
That's one we know.
and Lord of the Rings: Return of the King in 2003.
All right. Well, that kinda
Wow,
makes
I did
sense.
not realize Lord of the Rings did that.
Yeah, well,
Which
they
it
also
makes-
won a bunch of technical.
it makes sense, though.
Yeah,
Because-
it also won every single one of its nominations.
Wow.
Only 4 films have done that with winning Best Picture in every single one of their nominations.
Look, I likes the Hobbitses. So
Me too. That third one was
And
dope.
that was
That shit was dope.
it was a crowning. It was a crowning that evening.
I really don't know anybody who doesn't like the Lord of the Rings. The only thing I hear is people go like,
That's the blackest shit you've said.
the white man's got opinions. Yeah, the Hobbits ride the Metro, Brian.
There's news stories about that, but that'll be for next week.
Oh God. Yeah.
So
Don't worry, your crime bill's here.
the only thing
It's here. It's ready to go.
Yeah,
Starts
it's
tonight.
getting voted on. Yeah, get passed.
Yeah.
The only thing I hear people say is that like the extended cut versions are like way too long. The original ones are already pretty long.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing Return of the King, and there were several points towards the end of the movie where I was thinking, oh, okay, the movie's over. Oh no, okay, there's more.
Yeah.
Okay, now it's no, there's more.
So like, yeah, could it have been?
That's what
6 movies.
That's what Billy Crystal said during that Oscars that year. He said it's like the movie's got 11 nominations, 1 for each ending.
Yes. Right. Very good. All right. So best actor, you said who won
It
best
was
actor?
Cillian Murphy who played J. Robert Oppenheimer.
And who won best? There's another category for the women.
Yes, there is. They
Even
do
though they're
not.
also actors.
They have not. Well, no, they have
call
not.
it best actress anymore.
They have not.
Right?
They have not merged. They have not made it genderless. Which some organizations have.
Yeah.
done that.
Right. Didn't they do that in the Golden Globes or something like that? Or maybe BAFTA.
I think it was the Spirit Awards. The Spirit Awards did that, and what was the other one that did that? I can't remember.
Maybe it was that. But
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So I mean, an actor is an
So
actor.
yeah, so we had actress went to Emma Stone, her second Oscar for the movie Poor Things, which is a fantastic.
Her name was actually on the envelope this time, right? It wasn't.
Well, it was already in the envelope, but
Okay.
they made sure that they had the right envelope last time.
Poor Things is the one where she's like.
It's like a Frankenstein type
Yeah.
thing. It's with her, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, Rami Youssef,
And she finds out that she can have sex, essentially. And
she's basically discovering what it is to be a human, because it's not just that she's brought back to life. She's brought back to life with the brain of a 5-year-old.
Oh, okay, that's weird.
So basically, what you see her doing a lot of the times, it reminds you a lot of, if you've ever taken like an acting class or like a high school acting class, like those exercises they have you do, like mirroring and like, pretending you're an animal or something like that. That's what you see her doing, and it's insanely fun to watch.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard.
Some and some
Watch that at home.
she was up against
Watch, yeah, I can watch my kids trying to act. Daddy, I'm a cat.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that
There you
a
go.
cat? Are you sure that's a cat? Have you ever met a cat? You know what it reminds me of is the Arrested Development thing where they're all like, "Oh,
The
what are you,
chickens.
chicken?"
has
any of
anyone
you
here
ever
actually
seen
seen
a
a chicken?
Yeah, that's kind of all right. Yeah, right.
That's my personal favorite one.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
But yeah, but she beat Lily Gladstone, who a lot of people thought
Yeah.
could possibly win, who would have been the first Indigenous person to take home an acting Oscar.
That we know of, because there
Um,
might have been other people who just never like.
Yeah, we don't know of any other ones.
They were all like, "I'm not Indian. Don't tell anybody." Yeah.
But I mean, she'll be okay. I mean, she's going to have a great long career, and she's fantastic in that Martin Scorsese movie, Killers of the Flower Moon. So that was actress. Supporting actress went to the fabulous Divine Joy Randolph.
Okay.
Who did you ever see the Dolomite movie on Netflix?
Yes.
She's the actress. in it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, she won for The Holdovers, this movie with Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Which
movie.
is
again, I'm not seeing any movies, but
which is excellent. And if any of your reviewers want to see it, it is streaming right now on Peacock. It's and she's fabulous in that movie. She's so good in that movie, and I'm so happy for her. She's someone who's been putting in a lot of work over the years. So I love seeing her get that recognition.
So another thing that happened, this is going to surprise a lot of people. Godzilla won an Oscar.
Godzilla. This was the first time. So in
This Godzilla's supposed to be good.
I'm like, yo,
everybody says this Godzilla's supposed to
I
be
haven't
good.
seen the movie. I haven't gotten the chance to see the movie, but I've talked to some of my colleagues that have seen the movie, and a lot of them that aren't those types of movies, they usually don't go for them. They loved it. They loved this movie.
What is the
Godzilla
thing
minus
about
one.
this movie that's so compelling?
I think it was that it was just I don't know. I guess for some reason the visual effects branch finally was like, yeah, let's do this. Because in 70, I guess it's been 70 years of Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
Jesus.
They've never a Godzilla movie has never been nominated to my as far as I can remember.
Nope.
Yep,
No,
it's
no,
never been
no,
nominated.
no,
So they got. So this was their first
no.
nomination and the first win for them.
That's and they won for what?
Visual effects.
Actually, this movie.
You would have
Shout out to the big guy.
No, this movie. I've seen it 3 times. This movie should have been in the best picture category because
So another Godzilla. Everybody says this
is
about it.
that
What is
good.
Everybody says this.
Mind you, when I originally
This is
saw,
the
I like Godzilla. So
fire-breathing reptile.
Yes,
from
yes.
the
And this is
But
a
it's
Japanese
different.
and it's a Japanese movie.
Yes, a
Yeah.
Japanese movie. When being a Godzilla fan, seeing the initial trailer, the main thing that I saw was just Godzilla just being vicious. And this is the most vicious I've ever seen him. But watching this movie, it is sort of like pretty much, if you think of how when Godzilla first appeared in 1954, this is in a way kind of its prequel. And how he evolved and got the way he is. The weird thing is like the main characters, the actual actors, there is a real in-depth story with this. And I think that's what really, you see the true connection between man versus Godzilla here.
And is Godzilla the bad guy in this
He is
movie?
absolutely
Because
the
sometimes
bad
Godzilla
guy.
here to save
Sometimes
us.
God-
Yeah,
Sometimes
you
he's
never
here to
know
save
which
us.
you don't know which
But-
side it's going to be on
Mothra
sometimes.
and shit.
Yes. So
Leonard Maltin gets involved.
yeah, so there's a lot of things in this picture. I was like really disappointed it wasn't allowed because I've been told that when it comes to the I was hoping
the international category?
categories, the Japanese already submitted a
Perfect
category.
days.
Yeah. So and I felt like, dude, you just missed out because Godzilla could have gotten 2 because it was that
It may have been.
good.
It may have been
Everybody
able to
says
get
it.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody says this about this.
Speaking of
Godzilla
which,
movie.
how'd you go on your pool? Did you?
I think I got 18 out of 23.
Well, that's pretty
There were
good.
some.
I
There
got
were
15.
there were some. Like I was the night before in animated feature. I had The Boy and the Heron, the Miyazaki film, all season. I even interviewed the producer of it, who was one of the people who was up, Toshio Suzuki. And at the day before, I switched to Spider-Man. I was kicking myself
You
over
talked
that
yourself
one.
out of a win, Charlie.
I know. I did that in makeup too, but you know,
That's okay.
you take
Did you
what
beat
get.
everybody else on Gold Derby?
In my mind, in my heart,
In your
I did.
heart, you did.
Yeah,
in my
that's what
heart, I
matters.
It was rigged.
Yeah, they're all every.
Everything that you don't win is rigged.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so sound.
So yeah, so this is where we're going to talk about the zone of interest.
Okay.
This was the movie that won international feature, was submitted by the UK because it was made by Jonathan Glazer. The director was a British director. Do you remember that music video, Jamiroquai's Virtual Insanity?
Oh yeah.
That's him.
Okay.
Yeah, that's him. That
It's a hell
that
of a
won that.
video.
Yeah, no, it's a great music video. And but it's spoken in German and Polish because it was actually so the film is about the commandant of Auschwitz and his family that live in that are trying to build this perfect little suburban life, literally on next to the wall of Auschwitz.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Great.
and so what's amazing about that movie is it shows the banality of evil, and also the corporatization also of evil.
Oh, sure.
And the sound work in that movie is insane because you don't see anything in the camp, but in the distance as they're talking about something, you'll hear the trains. You'll hear trains. You'll hear a couple gunshots. There's one where you see fire coming because it's nighttime, and that's when they're doing the crematorium work. It is.
Is it in color?
Yes, it's all in color, except this one part with this showing this resistance fighter girl who's leaving out apples and pears for the prisoners outside the camp.
So they're living in the town of Auschwitz next to the camp itself.
They're literally next to the wall of the camp, and they actually shot it all at Auschwitz.
Oh, geez.
So it's not at the actual commandant's house. They couldn't use that one because it was too modernized.
Yeah.
But they found this other house that was maybe a couple hundred meters away that worked for them, and so they remodeled the whole thing. They actually grew the wife has this gorgeous garden of vegetables and flowers, and they actually grew all of that by hand. And then in the house, they put in cameras. They put in stationary 10 cameras throughout the house, and the director Glazer would be out in this storage container and call action from there, and then everybody in the house would start doing their thing.
Wow.
So there wouldn't even be camera people inside the.
Exactly. Yeah. No. It's
This sounds incredible.
It's incredible. But it's very minimalist, and it also has one of the most incredible endings I've ever seen to a movie.
And it won for sound.
And it beat Oppenheimer for sound. And
Wow.
I remember when I saw Oppenheimer.
Yes, wow.
When I saw Oppenheimer, I waited so long to buy my ticket for Oppenheimer that the only IMAX I could find, most of the IMAXs that were right near me only had the front row seats available.
Right.
And I learned after seeing Interstellar in a front row IMAX seat,
No.
I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, no,
So I
much.
got a ticket all the way out in Manassas.
Okay.
So I traveled out there, and the way your seat shakes during
Crazy.
that movie.
Yeah, it is.
And after that movie, I literally said, if this doesn't win the sound Oscar, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
It's just
But in the way you're describing zone of interest, it's like sound is almost like a character in the movie.
it is.
Yeah,
It very
that's
much
just-
is.
You're seeing
yeah.
regular life, but
Well,
you're
the whole
hearing
first
camp.
2 or 3 minutes of the movie is basically you see the title of the movie, and then it's black, and you hear Michael Levy's score, which is very cerebral and is very it's all encompassing, and that's just for like 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
And but it's and so yeah, it won the Sound Award. It's that was one of the most pleasant surprises for me. I was so happy when it did, because it's incredible work. Plus, we also got John Mulaney presented that one.
Oh well, and he's hilarious.
He's,
so you have
he said
presenting an award for sound about a Holocaust movie.
He
Totally
said
gonna work.
For years there wasn't sound in movies, and then they figured it out. And then he starts going on this whole thing where he's describing
horse in the hospital.
He starts describing Field of Dreams in insane detail, and then at the end he goes, "Field of Dreams, that's a great movie. That should win Best Picture."
Yeah,
but they'll probably go with one of this year's movies.
Right.
And a lot of people were saying that after that Mulaney should actually host.
He would be great.
I think he would too. If you saw him at the Spirit Awards, he knows how to be cutting edge but not mean.
Yeah,
which is what. But
I think they always worry that he's going to do something.
Well, he also hosted the Governor's Awards this year, which are the honorary awards they give out.
Yeah,
he knocked it out of the park. He behaved
himself.
Oh well, he was completely John Mulaney.
Yeah,
he wasn't like
Coke John Mulaney.
Yeah, he wasn't like that. But the other thing about Zone of Interest is that when one of the International Feature Award, that's probably where the most political thing of the evening happened.
Is that Jonathan past your jail time, go to bed?
No, that was later.
Okay.
That was later. But that's when Jonathan Glazer was up on stage with his producer, Jim Wilson, both of whom are Jewish.
Yeah.
And he said, we refute our Judaism and the Holocaust being used to justify an occupation.
I did hear that.
And
I thought that was pretty well.
That was
amazingly
well done. And of course, he's saying it in a British accent, so of course it sounds classy.
Much more classy. Yeah, that sounds right.
But
I want to see that movie. Out of everything, that movie sounds incredible.
I'm gonna let you see the movie and tell me it's good. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I wouldn't think you should. You shouldn't watch.
I have no capacity for this kind of shit anymore.
It's me for the flipper. It's me how I feel about like shit like 12 years a slave.
Yeah.
42. I don't. I'm good on all that.
Well, I mean, that's the sort of the
thing
about
Station. Good on that.
I mean, that's sort of the thing about that's interesting is because I feel like every decade there's one movie, because the Holocaust is something that can be, it's like if it's not done in a different way, it's like why
are we doing
exactly. Yeah. And so every decade I feel like you get one. So in the 80s we got Shoah, the 10-hour Claude Lanzmann documentary,
right?
And then in the 90s we got Schindler's List. In the 2000s we had The Pianist. The Roman Polanski movie, which is a masterpiece. It's a great, incredible movie.
Yeah, but also very hard to watch.
Yeah, no. And then in what's even probably the most difficult one to watch, in 2010s, we had a Hungarian film called Son of Saul.
Yeah,
which is about the Sonderkommando.
Yeah,
and that is a very tough movie to watch. I have
a favorite one.
Which one?
Inglourious Basterds.
That's the fucking great one too. That's a fucking great one too.
I knew you was going with that one. Of course.
Am the Bear Jew. I love that kind of movie.
That's a great fucking movie.
That's why, like, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of History Channel because it was mostly just like killing Nazis.
That was when it was flip. And then it got
before it was weird.
This is when it was just Hitler all the time. But it was actual history.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. It wasn't like what are the conspiracies about Hitler?
Yeah,
it was just a loop of American planes bombing the Germans, and I was like, I am here for this
24/7.
Let me just tune in and watch the 8th Air Force burn.
They did have a craft show where they knitted Mein Kampfers.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay, on that last. Speaking of, this is going to hit right at home. American Fiction.
American Fiction won Best Adapted Screenplay, which is great for Cord Jefferson. American Fiction is this great satire. With Jeffrey Wright, he plays this writer who is not he's not having a lot of luck, and on a whim he decides to write a satirical thing that indulges in all the black stereotypes.
My mother just telling me about this movie, and my mother loved this movie.
I showed this movie. I showed this movie done. So I saw this movie at Middleburg with a bunch of DC suburbanites. They ate it up. They won the audience award there. They loved it. And I thought it was great too. the ending, maybe like the last 5 minutes, the ending kind of doesn't sit right a bit. It did, like for my mom was like loving it, and then the ending, I was just like, that kind of. But it's still worth it because it's very funny and good for Cord Jefferson. I said this during the post show. I said I'm very happy for him, though it takes a lot for me to admit that as a George Mason graduate, and he is a William and Mary, fuck the tribe.
Oh, okay.
And I told him that at Middleburg. He was there, and he was like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm local. And he's like, oh yeah, I went to William and Mary. Did you hear me say that there? And I said, yeah, I was the one booing in the back because the back of the damn room because I'm a Mason graduate. And he was drunk and thought that was hilarious. So
well, you and Scalia.
I would like to add the fact of his acceptance speech. So when they mention the fact that how pretty much the industry is pretty much modern day Hollywood's always been, it's like, hey, you're not taking a gamble on something like this. And he was like pitching this thing for what a good 10 years at least.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like that.
It sounds like he was
saying, he said, I know this is a risk-averse town, but a $200 million movie is still a risk. Yeah. So instead of a $200 million, why do what was it, like $20 million movies, or $45 million movies? And I liked at the end he thanked the crew and the cast for taking a chance on a black director who had never, on a 40-year-old black man who had never directed anything in his life.
You could come give $1 million and Tez could direct Chip Chat. He fits most of those categories.
Yeah. I've never directed.
Because if there's anything we love, it's box checking.
Said like
wow, I get that. Okay.
That was good. He's a real Democrat. All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break. When we come back, is our guest in the bullpen yet? We're having a little trouble connecting. It's a little tough out there in cyberspace these days. So we're going to take a break.
Damn it, hacker.
Yeah. You got to pay your $22 million and get your health care back or whatever.
Anyways.
We're going to think
maybe.
Calm down. If she doesn't manage to connect, you'll have plenty of time to rant about the whatever.
That's always crazy.
I don't understand those things. It's more complicated than I can handle.
Stop plugging in random USBs.
Yes. Yeah.
Stop clicking. Yo, your boss does not want to talk to you urgently over
He's not
text.
in a meeting and needing gift cards. That's not real.
Actually, if you're just doing that, so be it.
Yeah.
Better than fucking people's prescriptions over.
Don't forget to buy your Trump bucks and whatever else.
And the golden shoes.
Yeah, right.
What are they called? We beat the charge, or what is it called?
No.
Oh, the sneakers?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember what they're called. They're just tacky as hell.
Yeah, they're called something. They're called something around
Force One
about beating the case.
Yeah.
There's something about beating the case.
Air
Never
trumpers.
surrenders.
Never surrenders.
That's
right.
what they are.
Good.
You should not be giving airtime.
All right, you're listening to Never Surrender on Beltway Radio and beyond.
Swips.
Niggas don't love you real, don't. For real. Bitches don't love you, hey. Don't. Niggas better tell the truth for real. Niggas about to make me blow a fuse for real. Yeah. I refuse for real. Got down on my dick, I refuse for real. They try to lock me in the bottle, but I broke the seal. You know this shit real. When you shed tears, I ain't do nothing different, I just face my fears. Everybody said hobby, but I made it career. She keep talking about Prada, but I'm focused on M's. The naked truth come out when the lights get dim. Hit you from the back, put my tongue in your ears. Look you in your eyes, say this shit real. Had to bust a laugh, cause she banging on pills. I've been having dreams, move us up in the hills. Let my sun in the eyes, since I do it for him. Had to keep my stride, cause they want me to trip. I had to cut ties, cause these niggas ain't fit. Drop to my knees and I yelled, amen. Hallelujah. Ain't nobody checking while I was caving in. They want you to be the hero who gon' save him. Fuck em. Gotta take a loss just to get it out. They put me in the drought, but I still got it all. World full of hate, fuck a love song. Took some hits like the Navy, but we army strong. Niggas go crazy, they'll crash for cash. I remember going hard on dope dash. Gotta get the rings like Sonic Dash. Had to switch the bitch, couldn't complete the task. Gotta stand the principle and be a man. Family started feuding, that was in the plan. I wish my brother chose a different path. They keep talking about losses, who been keeping tabs. No. More for another drink. Gotta smoke a thing, I just smoke a thing. I just need to sit back. I just smoke a thing. Oh, whoa, whoa. Oh, oh. I was gonna be regardless, nigga. Oh, oh.
Welcome back to Chip Chat here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. Who am I, Charlie? I'm Chip. I'm Chip.
You just told him, Chip.
Dude,
We're
Yo,
it's okay.
Who cares? You're DJing to yourself. So, we have a guest theoretically joining us via video chat, but we're having a little trouble connecting. So we're just going to take the information for her. We're going to set it off to the side here nicely in case she calls back.
Keeping it warm.
Yeah. Don't keep it too warm.
On deck.
Yeah. On deck.
Yeah.
With an E. So now what we're going to do is we're going to skip ahead to the rundown. This is the part of the show where I tell you about some stuff that's going on in the news. It's way over here.
Yeah, I know. All right, so he's like, this is not working.
I don't like being the bell guy.
It's all right.
If we were professionals, it would sound something like this.
That's
From Beltway Radio and Beyond in Washington, D.C., I'm J. Scott Smith, and this is the part of the hour where I tell you some stuff that's going on in the news.
Shout out to Jay.
Shout out to Jay.
That worked that time.
It did work. I hate when it
works.
works. I hate when it works.
Tez loves when it
I love when it
work.
does not. When he says when we sound like professionals and we don't sound like
And
professionals.
we don't sound like professionals.
Even though we don't sound like.
All right, so let's do Chip Chat Marketplace. So one of the things that we love to talk about, which is why we have so many friends, is monetary policy and inflation numbers.
My friends look at me crazy.
Yeah, even my dad, who's an economist, is like,
shut up. Yeah, right.
You know, so
he's retired from that shit now, isn't he?
Well, yes.
Doesn't want to hear about this shit.
My dad used to play trivia with me and Charlie at the bar.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
And yeah, so anyway, no, he's retired. So the jobs numbers came out at the end of last week, right after the State of the Union. It would have been nice if they had come out right.
He had those as well.
He knew them.
Yeah, he definitely
knew going in. BLS had the numbers. But it was another 275,000 jobs created, which even Fox News had to report. They were very upset about it, but it is what it is. Interesting, speaking of marketplace, they were talking about some surveys that showed how much people trusted just the data coming out of Department of Labor, and of Republicans before in 2016, it was something like 32% of them trusted the data, and in 2020, 86% of them trusted the data. Yep. So we're back to that flip again, where like it doesn't matter how true the stuff is and how much it actually is making people's lives go smoother. If you're a Republican, somehow you don't believe that this even happened. If you're looking at the gas prices and they went down, you're slipping the gas station extra money so you can cry about how your gas is so expensive. No, you're not doing that. You're taking the fucking... Can we take a tangent off the marketplace for a second?
Go ahead.
Get to the State of the Union, which we didn't get to really
we
talk
definitely
about.
did talk about that, yeah.
Joey B did a really good thing in the State of the Union. First of all, he killed. He should be hosting the Oscars.
Yeah.
He killed. And one of the things that he did was baited the Republicans into this same stupid thing again. They fell for it last year, where he's like, my friends across the aisle want to cut Social Security and Medicare. And they all go, no. And he goes, oh, good. So we're all in agreement. We're not going to touch those. Cool. And they're all like, hey. But he did it like 4 times this time. And they all fell for it each time. One of those times was when he was talking about the benefits of the IRA, the IRA, as they're calling it now, the Infrastructure Recovery Act, and also which they call the Green New Deal that they're so mad about, and all of the other investments that got through in the first couple of years. And overwhelmingly are going to districts that did not vote for Joe Biden.
Right.
And he made a big point of it. He's like, look, all of this is going into your districts. None of y'all voted for it. None of you, not a one. But you'll take the credit, won't you? And they all were like, hey. And he's like, tell me I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong.
If only they had a projector behind him and he could start running pictures of the various members of Congress going to like ribbon cutting events that were brought on by that.
If they incorporated a visual aspect to the State of the Union and let them do it the way that like the Daily Show does, it would be amazing.
All you need is the same people who produced the friggin' against Trump,
the J6
stuff,
committee hearings, they're great at it.
Yeah,
but I mean, he did it,
and then there'll be a little Easter egg of Josh Hawley running away from
right.
Yeah,
that'll be the cursor. Josh Hawley shaped cursor running away. But like you saw it even afterwards. I saw Stefanik put out a thing where she was like, "Oh, I'm so great to bring this money home from my district in New York." It's like, you didn't vote for that. I told her on Twitter, I was like, I also didn't vote for that because I'm not in Congress. I'll go ahead and take credit for it too. Why not? Like, what are we doing out here? So, okay, the economy is going well, and it is cracking the public sentiment, although not as well as you would hope. Which brings us to this story, which is about the CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, which is another part of this is
the Fed's favorite number.
And it's the thing that when people say the rate of inflation, that's what they're talking about. It's the CPI. They're not talking about the chain CPI. They're not talking about the core inflation. They're not talking about there's a lot of pieces inside that, but they're talking about the CPI. So CPI come out on Tuesday. It showed that prices rose 3.2% over last year, which slightly outpaced the 3.1% forecast. That's 0.4%. They rose 0.4% in February over the previous month. So people were hoping they were going to see like a decline in the rate of inflation this go around by enough because everybody's desperate for a cut. They all want to cut. And the Fed is like, look, we're not going to cut until we see that this has completely leveled off and started to turn. That's the critical thing. People they got it right by getting ahead of it with the soft landing. They're going to be hesitant to try to out-predict the other direction.
Yeah, and this is the hardest part to destroy.
It's much harder.
This is
because you could put the kibosh on this in an instant and fuck it all up.
Yeah,
with one bad cut, and it would take you several more increases to get it back.
And they're not going to do that.
No, there's no reason.
They'll run the risk of the recession that's always 6 months away. They'll run that risk before they ever.
But we can put that R word the fuck out of our vocabulary because
eventually it will happen, but it's not happening anytime soon.
But it's not happening anytime soon, and all of this fear of it and all of this, it's already priced into the. No, it's not. You know what is priced into the market is cuts in the summer.
That's priced in.
Which we don't know is actually going to happen. There was something that jumped out at me in this story, which
wouldn't bet on it.
Which is what I put here. The clearest sign for now will come from the Fed itself. Policymakers are convening for their March meeting next week, where they will compile new forecasts showing how many rate cuts they plan. Doesn't mean they're going to do them for the year. If officials point to fewer hikes than they did in their last set of projections, they will be pressed to explain whether they are seeing something more worrisome in the inflation front. So this is the thing to be paying attention to. Don't look at that CPI right now.
No, wait for them to meet and see what they're.
Wait for the notes out of the Fed meeting.
Yeah, and see what they predict on it. I think they'll still hesitate. I think they'll hesitate to cut rates until like the fall.
Yeah, I don't see any reason. Look, if it kind of rides right at 3% and your target's 2%, that's pretty good because you got the soft landing. And if you're outpacing the rest of the world, with our inflation being lower than everybody else, our wages outpacing inflation and jobs continuing to grow, I don't see any reason to change course. Could it go faster? Could you make more money faster? Could you possibly, inject a little more capital into the markets and juice things? You could.
But we don't want.
Is there any reason to do that?
I don't think there's a reason.
I don't think so. I think, Lord help me, Greenspan, he's not dead, but Greenspan's version of the Fed, I think that's over. I think we're done with that. The Greenspan, Bernanke, throw money into the economy and make the markets go nuts. I think we're done with that. The sober minds are kind of running the show right now.
Can you believe Andrea Mitchell has to sleep with that?
Well, next to. But also, she's like 94 too. Give Alicia Mendez her job.
Why hasn't she connected him with her plastic surgeon?
I don't know. She looks great.
No, she's I think a great example of plastic surgery working.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Also, she's brilliant, and but let her, MSNBC, please let Andrea Mitchell just retire if she wants to, and give Alicia Mendez that slot. She did great when Nicole Wallace was out.
Rehire Mehdi Hassan.
Yeah, I would love that, but I think he's kind of done with them too.
Yeah, no, he's definitely
off on his own thing. I almost subscribed to it, but then I realized I don't have any money. Because of Joe Biden.
See how I got
it.
I think when we look at the election and why this matters as well too is I think Jerome Powell's done a great job at guiding us through this. Maybe saw it a little too late. Maybe didn't jump on this ahead of time. But I wasn't against the amount of money that was put into this economy.
No.
Remind me again, which position does Jerome Powell have again?
Fed chair for
And what Janet Yellen's Treasury
Secretary, yeah.
Okay.
The old job.
Okay.
So, but
I'm not mad because again, that we saw it. What we did in 2008 wasn't enough.
Right.
The pandemic is scarier than 2008.
Yeah. But the lesson was
learned. Yeah.
And people are all, just to put a little caveat on that. Oh, well, there was a lot of fraud in the PPP, and then people kept their money and they shouldn't have done it. And there was, $60 billion. You know what? Fuck it. It was worth it. It was worth that level of abuse to save us from.
And look who issued it. It was,
worse.
and the person who issued it as well too at the time. It's not like there was a lot of guardrails that was put up at all.
There were no guardrails in that administration at all. But even if there weren't, I am okay with rushing money to the problem in that case.
And fuck, be damned with everything else that happens.
And God bless Powell, who rode through all of that and was able to guide, like you said, to guide us through that. And Yellen, for her credit, because managing the running up against that debt ceiling and trying to get creative with all of that and trying to fight your way through Congress's bullshit while you're trying to get monetary policy to line up with fiscal policy, that's not easy. And when half of the country is trying to obliterate the fiscal, you can't run monetary without fiscal. So,
I don't think you change him though. Right, if Trump got in, he would obviously be gone immediately.
Oh yeah, but in real governance, would we do that? No. He's like Greenspan. He's going to get a second term as Fed chair. That's another 10 years, just so everybody knows how that works. It's 10 years to insulate against the political upheavals. So you don't go with the president. You don't serve with the pleasure of the president. Could be possibly impeached and removed, but it doesn't really happen. And Fed board seats are 16 years, 14 years, something like that. They're stupid long to try to, hedge against some of the political aspects of it. Nobody thought soft landings were real. This is a novel territory that we're in. It continues to be novel territory. I would highly recommend that people keep their powder dry and don't do anything stupid. Also, Bitcoin is not real. Fuck off.
Oh, look, spiking again.
Yeah, exactly. We got to get Jenny back out here and ask her about what this means.
I also think it's interesting because people don't feel like the economy is doing well, but I think that might be where the growth is in the economy as well. I think
it kind of reminds me of 2012 when the Obama campaign was trying to figure out how to thread that needle of things are headed in the right direction. Y'all may not be feeling it yet, but we're on the right track.
Yeah, but the thing is, this tells you they are feeling it. Consumer spending is up. Yeah. This inflation number is a little higher than it meant to be, and nobody's stopping spending. Okay? This is the thing where people might not say it in a poll, but they are behaving like the economy is doing better. Here it is in the hard data. And so it is baffling to me.
I think though, wages go up for the lowest earners, and the person who works at McDonald's now can afford like
to eat at McDonald's.
to eat at McDonald's.
Well, that's
But
the
the
other thing
person-
is whether or not they can actually afford
Yeah.
to live on the wages that they're making.
Exactly. But then the person who is going to McDonald's sees the prices go up there. And even though that they more than likely probably can afford it, it doesn't feel good. And that's where I think the feelings
They're
get into-
mad that they have to pay slightly more for a burger instead of thinking about the person making the burger
right.
finally being able to cover their rent.
And where the economy has like, been the strongest, right, would still be like the stock market and more people.
The investor class.
Yeah,
is
more
not
people.
hurting.
Exactly. More folks. All right.
We're
More
minting
folks see the
billionaires
grocery
every
store.
day.
Yeah, we see the grocery store bill more than you see like your 401k return for most Americans. Like,
Yeah.
most people don't have that. So I think it's interesting to see where profits have been gained and why people feel that way. Hopefully that doesn't cause them to do anything drastic in November. I hope.
Mhm.
I hope. I don't
Well-
know. Scary out here talking to people.
Speaking
They scare
of,
me.
Speaking of that guy, this one's called "He Keeps Doing It."
Why? Yeah, this is insane.
I don't know. So you own several children. I own several children. You
Only
own one child.
Hold
Charlie, you want to
I
borrow
have
some
I
children?
have a bunch of people in my basement that call me daddy, but that's another thing.
The
altogether.
different-
All right, different.
But you have cats.
I have a cat. Yes.
Yeah. So, there's this thing about like, don't touch the stove. It's hot, but maybe you let them touch the stove so they learn it's
Oh yeah.
hot.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Has your cat walked on the stove?
No, she's actually on that. That's one area where she's actually stayed off the kitchen counters.
She's learned not to.
She's never even
She's
tried
never
it.
even tried it.
Yeah.
Okay. Has your kid
Touch some shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and,
It's hot.
and what happened? Did she do it again?
No.
No, she learned her lesson, right? Most of us do.
Most.
Yeah. Brian, have you ever touched anything hot? Not our guest who didn't show up, but
Yes, I've had.
okay.
Well, you touched a guess?
No,
Hold on.
Did you learn not to touch again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then again, you end up doing it anyway by mistake. So,
Okay,
but in this case scenario, based off of what you're stating,
All right.
Yes, I've learned my lesson.
So Brian, like this other white man, is not a great example. But all right, here's what happened. A jury last year found Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing and actually technically raping, as the judge later clarified, and defaming E. Jean Carroll. Trump responded at a CNN town hall by attacking E. Jean Carroll in exactly the same way that he was found liable for doing. So when it came time earlier this year for another jury to decide what Trump owes Carroll in relation to that, he got hit hard. $83.3 million is a lot of money on top of the $5 million he already had to pay. And it's not good. So he secured a $91 million bond.
How?
That I don't get.
How?
The Russians or the Saudis or
Yeah.
whatever. There's nothing that says they can't finance his bond as long as he got an insurance company to do it. Who put up the collateral for the insurance company? It's unclear. They
That's
don't have
insane.
to report any of that.
It was Eric. Eric put it up.
Eric doesn't have any money. What's he gonna sell? His face?
I don't know, his race car bed.
Right.
Maybe it was
I'll
Mike
tell you
Lindell.
what, for $91 million, I would punch Eric Trump.
Maybe it was Mike Lindell.
Yeah, it was Mike Lindell. He's out of money. Hold on. We'll need that in a minute. So here's the thing, though. Every time he gets on stage, he fucking does it again.
It's a tick. He can't
And
help
there's
it.
there's nothing that says
I'm surprised he hasn't tried to use that as a defense.
I just
Yeah,
can't.
It's a medical issue.
yeah, I've got a mental health problem. No, he
You know
can't
when you're
admit
treated
he's
like me.
man, woman, person, camera, TV, he can't admit to that.
It's Nancy Pelosi's fault.
Right? Yeah, or as I call her, Nancy.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, he had a rally. I guess it was in one of the Carolinas, someplace.
Rome, Georgia.
Rome, Georgia. There you go. I don't know. It's one of those places I don't. go.
Rome's not in Georgia.
What? I thought it's the togas.
There's a Jerome in Georgia.
Yeah, there is a Jerome. Oh, that's right. You're right. It's G.A. Rome. That's right. It's another one of the names that works for both of our people.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So anyway, he was out there in Rome, and he did the thing.
When in
again.
Rome.
When in Rome. And when you've got Charlie, you take advantage. So it was this one, then this one. So start there.
Oh, God.
And let's.
Right.
Get out the
I just posted a $91 million bond. $91 million on a fake story, totally made up story. $91 million based on false accusations made about me by a woman that I knew nothing about, didn't know, never heard of. I know nothing about her.
Never heard of it.
Then apparently he continued doubling down on CNBC on
Yes.
Monday.
Why did they put him on the eye? I don't understand.
Which finally answers the question: who is watching CNBC?
That shit's still on.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how
And
Andrew.
that shouting bald guy is still out there ruining the market.
Oh, Kramer.
yeah,
Yeah.
Jim Kramer.
Yeah, if I didn't win on appeal on these ridiculous decisions, including the Miss Bergdorf Goodman, a person I never met, I have no idea who she is, except one thing: I got sued. And from that point on, I said, wow, that's crazy what this is. I got charged. I was given a false accusation and had to post a $91 million bond on a false accusation.
Now, I think the question they asked him is, what do you think the markets are going to do? So that was his answer to that.
What?
That was how he talks. He just can't stop it. I mean, it is a bit of a tick, right? Because
Yeah.
he gets in these loops and he just starts.
Well, because it's also like, it's like dumb dictator, like, it's like all the things he used, like his campaign, like bravado, where like when you see these polls that people feel that he's more in his right mind than Biden,
Yeah.
it's because he's kind of off the cuff and maybe he
Here's
talks.
the thing. I think it's also because he has been more of an established personality, a more well-known personality, and he's been like this for decades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the character is that he just says random shit. So when he does say random shit, they don't translate it as cognitive decline.
Yeah.
They translate it as, oh, he's always been this way. He's not cognitively declining. He's always been fucking stupid. That's the difference. Like,
To keep saying this and costing yourself money.
yeah,
He's made a bad bet. I think he's made a bad bet, and he's going
stuck.
to. And that's why there's only like in his
He
mind.
has to ride it out.
Yeah, he has to ride this out
There's only one out to this.
Yeah, there's only-
is to delay and win.
and win.
Because otherwise, his whole fucking world collapses.
And I think this is a really bad bet on his. Like,
She's going to be back in court next week with another $100 million lawsuit, and he's gonna lose. I mean, it's dead to right, and he does it in front of everybody. He doesn't learn. That's what I was talking about with the stove. Like, he doesn't learn. At the very least, Rudy learned to shut the fuck up.
Eventually.
Eventually,
Right.
$500 million later, he learned to shut the fuck up. Trump is now in for $500 million, and he has not learned to shut the fuck up.
he's gonna ride it out. He's riding that out.
I don't know who could be dumber than that. Oh wait, I found somebody. Aaron Rodgers,
This guy.
Super Bowl MVP. Aaron Rodgers.
Who's had the bigger fall from grace? Rodgers or Favre?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a
hard
tough
question.
one.
Ooh.
That's a tough one.
I say right now, Rodgers.
I'm
Yeah,
going.
Rodgers has the headlines.
He
but-
got Favre
but he
is
hasn't
bad.
stolen-
Favre is so bad.
There's still that-
Rodgers hasn't stolen money
Well,
from hungry
in all
welfare
fairness, though,
children.
Rodgers has not texted a picture of his dick to a reporter.
Yeah, like there's a lot
Remember
of
that?
Favre
Or
fans.
we just don't know about it.
That's no, come on, we would have known about that. That would have come out. That would have. we
Okay,
would've known about that.
fine. The dick pic. The dick pic is like way down the list right now. On Brett Favre stole money from hungry children in
Mississippi, yeah.
to buy his daughter a volleyball court. So
Shout out to reporting to Mississippi Today.
yeah,
'Cause that was just still one of the greatest high level reporting to like from a small nonprofit.
No question.
That is insane that they broke that story.
they're support your local journalism.
Yeah.
WAMU. They even ran a story describing DC as today. Like they realize how far in the shit they stepped, and they're letting their reporters write stuff about it,
Good.
which is good, but it doesn't fix the thing that you did. Okay. Yeah, that is an excellent question.
I'm gonna go Brett Favre.
I'm going Favre because
Yeah.
Favre stole money from hungry children.
Like this guy.
If it hadn't been for that whole thing, I would say Rodgers.
Yeah.
I would say Rodgers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now I lean towards Favre, but I mean they're like to me it's like a photo finish at this point. It's a
Jordan
really
Love, be careful. Is that
Yeah,
the boy out
right.
there? Yo,
Could happen
Cameron,
to you.
yeah, Lord. And you know it's not going to go kindly for you.
What is going on? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's already Wisconsin.
Yeah.
But like, not Milwaukee. What is going on in Green Bay that is turning these people into crazy people?
Jeez.
Maybe it's
Jeez.
leaving Green Bay that does it.
Yeah,
That could be. You know what? Because
He was still at Green
was
Bay.
great until he went to the Jets.
He was
Maybe it's the Jets.
he was hosting Jeopardy when he was
Right.
still with Green Bay. But he went to the Jets that all this sort of shit started bubbling up.
Now listen, I'm descended of and married to a Jets fan, so I'm a little worried here, but I think it's the goddamn Jets that are doing it.
I mean,
be.
it would explain a lot considering
Wasn't
how
the
terrible
Vikings.
they are.
You know,
No.
that didn't do it. No, the Vikings have no impact on anything. So it's
If they started pillaging like their namesake, then maybe they would.
what are they going to pillage? Minnesota. Have you been to Minnesota?
I don't know.
There's nothing there to pillage. It's flat. All right. Anyway, Aaron. So why are we talking about Aaron? What has he done so bad except play less than an entire series for the Jets after costing them $100 million?
He's on board with our favorite left his ass eater.
Yeah, he's Alex Jones.
He's
but
Alex Jones
with a beard.
Yeah.
Or Alex Jones sometimes has a beard.
Okay, yeah, he
so
has a
Alex
beard.
I
Alex
think that's
Jones
his
is-
default now. His
Yeah,
default
it's
is
his
with the
beard.
beard now.
All right, he's in shape, Alex Jones.
There you go.
So, but he can't walk either. So that's fair. All right. So what happened is that Aaron Rodgers, he had this injury to his Achilles, and he's out of football, so he had a lot of extra time on his hands, and it turned out that gave him the opportunity to amplify all the weird shit he was into the whole time he was in Green Bay.
Yeah. The ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Which is cool, whatever.
That's fine.
whatever.
You want to do drugs and hang out in a cave? We're all for that.
Whatever. Yeah.
I'll come with you. That's fine. But the weird thing is he's down in the Sandy Hook isn't real.
Really? He's down in that area.
the vaccine. Well, that one even
the
seems-
vaccine stuff I knew about.
Yeah, but
He was
this
already on the vaccine stuff, but then he got into the Sandy Hook false flag
He
stuff.
said he went at Kimmel. He went at Kimmel.
Oh, I did hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did read about. Yeah, I did read about that.
He sued Kimmel for making a joke about him, which, as far as I know, has gone nowhere. And Kimmel was really happy that he sued him because it made.
Are you kidding? That's like the badge of honor for a comedian.
Yeah,
But then he accused Kimmel of being in one of these friggin'
Being
pedophilia
cabal.
reels, cabals and
Yeah.
shit.
yeah. Actually, I take it back. It
Yes,
was Kimmel that
yeah.
sued him
Yes,
because Aaron Rodgers went on
McAfee.
and accused Kimmel of being in this, adrenochrome ring or whatever.
Which is crazy.
And so people showed up at Kimmel's house, and so then he sued Aaron. And as far as I know, that's going. But I don't pick fights with people by ink by the barrel. That is the obvious thing here. But what the fuck is wrong with Aaron Rodgers?
I think probably that injury probably affected
Which
him.
one?
The one that got
The
him out for the
Achilles
season.
one?
The one that got him out for the season. That was what was it? The first drive of the game?
Yeah.
Of the first game?
Third down.
The third down. Okay, it was the third down. And I think he might be also someone who just has a chronic need for attention.
There it is. There it is.
So it's not CTE.
There-
It's not
no.
football is
That
bad
is
and turns
always-
you into a crazy idiot.
he's been like this for a long
and
time.
we just didn't know.
Yeah,
Now, what's the deal with him and his family? He doesn't.
he's definitely estranged from his family because his brother went on one of these shows at one point.
I think it was The Bachelor.
Maybe it was The Bachelor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was The Bachelor. And
But isn't the rest of his family also hyper religious? Also,
I just know he's not him and his family, no good. But he's always been kind of, even in Green Bay, and listening to old interviews, he's always tried to be I guess counterculture to a
but
sense.
he's from California.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem weird.
It doesn't seem weird, but I think he's been the type almost as well too. When you get more fame, you get more money, he keeps wanting to push it closer and closer to
Why?
I think he does. He wants attention. He craves that.
Let's do an
and
experiment.
the validation also.
Yeah,
So
even
that's why
think
he
about
goes
him
on
trying to
certain-
come back in all this. Oh, he's going to come back. You weren't coming back from. I'm coming back from Achilles.
Yeah, so
in
especially
8
like the way
weeks.
he would draw out with the last 3 seasons at Green Bay, he would draw out whether he would be back the next season.
Yeah, he cares about attention, and that's all he cares
Why
about.
are we talking about him? Why are we talking about him this week?
Because he's a vice president. Just because we these damn third parties.
Because of RFK Jr.
Yes,
Shit.
that
Can
guy.
they try this shit in 2028? For God's sakes, why are we doing this? Do this then.
Can't he just do the Kennedy thing and get assassinated? Like,
Whoa.
No,
No.
he can die in a car wreck too.
Yeah, sure. There's several kinds, or plane. There's lots
No.
of ways Kennedys can die.
No.
I'm not saying we're condoning it. I'm saying that, it's historically accurate.
No.
No,
I would love it. I would
not
love it if
endorsing that.
RFK Jr. died of smallpox.
That would be great.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, we can make it happen. Send him to Florida and cuddle those measles kids.
Gotta kiss the babies, right?
Yeah, you got to kiss the babies and shake
That's
their
if,
hands.
and
that's
these
if he
ones haven't
doesn't. That's if he
been
doesn't
vaccinated.
frighten.
These ones
That's if
haven't
he
been
doesn't
vaccinated.
frighten away the kids with that ridiculous voice of his,
So,
which I know is a medical condition.
Yeah.
I understand that.
it's okay. He's an awful person. You can make
No, it's not. This guy just.
You read about what happened in what was it, Samoa, with his when there was like some 2 babies died of something, and his organization went in and started blowing up this whole thing about it, and then there was a huge outbreak that killed like 10% of
Yeah.
Samoa's children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. killed all
He's
the
a
Samoans.
terrible person.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a genocidal maniac.
Think about who. Do you see who else they're considering on?
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yo, Jesse, it's not Jesse the
Former
body.
governor.
It's Jesse the mind.
Yeah,
Jesse the mind
The
Ventura.
governor, Minnesota governor.
Former governor of Minnesota.
Yeah.
Remember when that was like, oh, no one was really mad about that at that time.
Nobody was
We were
mad.
too shocked when it happened.
No one was mad.
Actually,
I've gone back and I've watched the election night footage from that, and they're just going, "What the fuck is happening?"
but
here?"
while he was governor, he kind of didn't do anything too crazy.
No, because the legislature didn't want to work with him.
Yeah, but he just was sort of like, just hung out and signed things and cut ribbons and stuff. He did nothing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if it's a good. I don't know if it's a good
that is
thing.
the right way to handle when Jesse Ventura gets in charge
Yeah,
of anything.
yeah.
But all right, we're talking about him because RFK Jr. is floating the idea of Ron as his VP nomination,
Which shows that he is not remotely serious about this presidential campaign.
But he's still.
Yeah.
But he could. The
But
name
he can
alone.
fuck up a lot of
The
stuff.
name alone could take what? At least 10%.
Left-wing media now is telling this story that his anti-vaxxer stuff and if he brings on Rogers is going to draw from Trump. And I think that's horseshit. It's not a chance.
I don't think he's stealing it from Democrats.
Well, no, but people see the name Kennedy, and there's only one group of people who votes for a Kennedy, and
Yeah.
and it ain't Republicans.
Louisiana.
Yeah, but he
He was a Democrat for
That is true,
years.
that
yes,
is true.
that's
He was
true.
a Democrat. So I worry. I don't know.
No, you should worry.
We should worry.
We should worry, but here's the thing. I will worry. I think it's appropriate to worry once ballot access is finalized, because that's going to be a
To
huge
see where
problem.
he's at.
That's going to be a huge problem.
Well,
for
I don't
him.
think he's going to get on. Already, the no labels guys are shit out of luck on that. So that helps a little bit. But
But
that
it's
is so
also just the
worrying.
petitions and everything, and how you have to do each state.
Well, I
like, if
guarantee he doesn't have an operation. And I guarantee it falls apart.
Yeah, and that's what if
You're gonna
that
have a bunch
doesn't
of-
happen.
But see, be
Shit.
careful about that because the tech bros back him as well too. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
but he just
I don't.
doesn't- he
The
doesn't have
operation
the
might be there, but the money should be there
to
as well.
raise it.
It's still, but it's not just. It's not. It's also just a matter of organization
Right,
and the
ground game.
manpower. And the
He's got
manpower.
nobody.
Like I don't think he's like I find it hard to believe that he's gonna have like resources to get on the ballot in Ohio and Indiana and even
Staff
like
on
stuff
the
like
ground matters, and actually to that point, you got to look at the war chest too, and the way that the Biden and the
and
DNC are lining up.
he's gonna be one of those people. They're never gonna have him speak in the campaign ads.
Right, they got.
Yeah.
They're never gonna have
because
because of his voice thing. That's gonna be like a disqualifying thing for so many people.
also you never know what he's going to say.
That's true.
and he's a nutcase. So like,
Yeah, not to mention the anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about how COVID was what didn't work. How COVID
impact,
Ashkenazi Jews
Orthodox
were
yeah,
Ashkenazi Jews were immune to COVID.
I'm so immune
Oh,
to it.
to try to play up what non-vaccination?
Yeah.
Was that what he's trying
No,
to do?
he-
What?
There was
That was-
camera of him saying this.
He said this and that maybe we unleashed the virus because it doesn't affect us or something. I got it in the very first round.
Yeah, no, I remember.
And I am 92% Ashkenazi, 8% Sephardic. So I know my answers, and I am 100% Jewish of all the colors. That's it. So I got COVID, and I couldn't smell or taste for 11 months until I got my Johnson vaccine. Shout out to Magic Johnson, who gave me the vaccine. Is that not how that works? Okay. Do you want to take a break, or you want to go right to the TED Talk?
We can go straight to TED Talk. You're welcome.
Be
Brian.
merciful to Brian.
Look at these dead ass birds.
Look at these dead ass birds.
There's these dead ass birds. Look. TikTok.
Yeah,
I
am not.
This
on
shit
the
is
TikTok.
pissing me off.
Are you
all
on
right.
the
Well,
TikTok?
I'm all right. Yes,
What's that?
Are you on the TikTok?
Yes.
of course. Yeah,
Are you on the
It's been
TikTok?
it has been responsible for me being so unproductive over the last 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, as some might know, some might not know, TikTok has a parent company, and that parent company is based, in China.
It's called
It's called ByteDance, right?
Yeah.
And it's most people probably know not even ByteDance, but things that are located in China sometimes fall under, the purview of the Chinese government.
Always.
So look, all right. So, look, all right. So
Not legally allowed to operate.
right.
Unless, because it is technically a communist country, even though it is very definitely capitalist.
Yeah.
It means that the government always gets a little stake in everything.
But
Because we're sharing.
yeah, and like when Bill Clinton was like, "Yo, the internet's gonna open up everything for China," China was like, "No, we're gonna control the
Right.
fucking internet,"
And they did.
successfully.
The Great Firewall.
A great power.
That's what they call it.
To bring it to here, the most productive Congress ever passed the bill.
I think it's their third one.
It's the third one.
Yeah, it's HR 3.
Yeah, HR 3. And it's requiring, they say it's a TikTok ban, is what you hear a lot. It's not necessarily a ban, though. It's requiring ByteDance to sell a certain amount, a percentage.
Or divest
Yeah.
within 6 months.
Within 6 months. Which isn't a bunch of time.
Yeah,
that's not a lot of time. I feel there's many weird things around forcing companies to do
Pretty anti-market.
pretty anti-market, but also too what the government is going to say is it's China. I also find it interesting that it seems Joe Biden saw that there wasn't much backlash from attacking China in the Trump administration, and has quietly, not the same boastfully way, but quietly kept up things to be like, yo, whether it's the CHIPS Act,
the tariffs off.
yeah, hasn't pulled the tariffs off, whether it's the CHIPS Act,
CHIPS Act directly
attacks them, right? So I think this is on a straight political side of it, in politics campaigning, it's an interesting approach, similar to his approach with the border, right? Taking a traditional Republican thing and flipping it. However, where I think you're going to go with this is that TikTok is a huge community. It's the biggest social network in this country.
170 million American subscribers.
And whether there's a
By
content,
comparison, how many are on Facebook?
Oh, Facebook has a lot
of Americans.
Of Americans, though.
I mean, there's 350 million Americans. How many of them are on Facebook?
I don't have the direct number, but I think
300 million?
TikTok is eclipsed that, though. I would assume.
I think it might have.
I would assume at this point. But I think, needless to say, that this platform is a community one of users. So I think that's something to always take into consideration. But also businesses and content creation is a business at this point. And I think that's
what are we doing here?
Right. And I think that's where the administration runs kind of a really risky move of pissing off this huge user base on there, right? I mean,
it's interesting. What I've read, I don't think there's any data. I don't know if there's any data on this, but I did read that that some people one of the things that they credit the Democrats doing better in the midterms than a lot of people thought was because of leftist people on TikTok reminding people, on their free page, always, go vote, make sure you go vote. And that combined, of course, with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. But TikTok helped that a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that TikTok skews young and therefore skews left in
A
terms
little
of,
bit, but there's definitely some.
but there's, I mean, any of these things allows for weird stuff, and it's the
A friend of
algorithm
mine
feeds you what you
accidentally
like.
found himself on Nazi TikTok.
Oh, wow.
apparently.
It's
I
come
was like,
on.
Nick, how the hell did you end up
No,
on?
of course, but it's there.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
If there's,
I mean, the thing that I can't stand that I find so disingenuous is when they talk about trying to protect privacy.
Because where is the
Because
privacy data law now?
Because I'm like, okay, whatever privacy concerns you may have about TikTok, with Facebook, Twitter, that's
The
double.
Chinese government can
It's
get that
double.
already. I
I
think that they can already get that information because unlike the
they're
EU,
also willing to sell it.
there you go. They'll sell that, and that's why I think there's not
you don't know who they're selling it to.
but there's not a comprehensive data privacy law here in the United States.
And I don't trust it because they're not trying to do jack shit about trying to mitigate the whole privacy concerns with those companies
At all. And that's where it's like, all right, it's straight politics at this point here. I get why they're saying this. I'm personally not on TikTok, but I don't think it poses the same threat. I don't think it poses a bigger threat than any of the other social platforms, specifically where they're at now.
It's been really disappointing for me to see that, when I was browsing through the vote list of how people voted,
Yeah.
to see all the Virginia Democrats voting yes, with the exception of Jerry Connolly, who was not present for the vote. My guess is he probably would have voted yes.
Speaking of Jerry
But,
Connolly, the guy who's challenging him in the primary is going to be on our show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I met him at Giant.
I feel like it pisses me off with Don Beyer because I like Don Beyer. I really feel like he needs to retire.
Well,
It's time.
somebody's got to sell.
And the fact that this on the Senate side, this has been spearheaded by Mark Warner, has been especially.
All right, let me take up for them for a second for former Governor Warner and everybody else. I do think that TikTok presents a risk in ways that other social media companies don't. Here's why. I don't think they can go to court to try to protect their data. And we have seen the other companies, specifically in cases where I kind of wish they wouldn't have, gone to court. Apple and Facebook and all of them have said, no, we're not giving you the data. You gotta either crack our stuff or get a warrant. And I don't see TikTok fighting Beijing if they ask for the data. They're going to get it. That's number one. So my face is on the internet. We're on the internet right now. If people want to steal my identity, good luck. I hope you like paying for childcare. But people are giving a lot of information to TikTok, a lot. And it's not just about, where you live and your location and all of that, but you're also giving them your face and how you move. All those dances is not for nothing, right? They're paying attention to how you move. That's biometric data in a way that we're not really even thinking about. And they can control what you see.
Isn't that happening on the Facebook and X?
Yes.
Well, Facebook not as much because Facebook you have to be connected with people as your friends in order to see their stuff. In order to see their stuff on your feed, you can't just see random people.
Interesting.
Well, but in the reels you can because they're combined with the Instagram, and it does try to tailor to things that you like and pay attention to and click on. But I'm gonna say, while I understand that Facebook and Instagram, which are the same company, are doing this kind of a thing, and YouTube is doing it too, I play with those algorithms all the time. There's kind of two things in the world that I'm really into that I'll watch on this stuff, which is basically videos of airplanes taking off, landing, people talking about airplanes. I like airplanes. It's a weird thing. I'm into it. And food. So the hands and pans, people making stuff. Here's a guy out in the wilderness chopping up steak, whatever.
Oh yeah, I've seen those videos.
I love those. Okay, so like, but every once in a while, I'll wait for it to serve me something weird, and I'll click like on it a bunch of times and see if I can change my feed, and it works. Facebook and YouTube and all these guys, they are manipulating me for the purpose of making money, which is reprehensible, but not directly impacting democracy. We learned that the Russians are interested in manipulating people in the way that they vote, and it is pretty clear that the Chinese are interested in that too. And so there is nothing that will convince me that TikTok isn't capable of, I'm not saying they're doing it, capable of swaying the way that people vote by changing what they see.
The way they've swayed people to vote, though, seems to be things you would agree with, though.
For now.
For now, but
here's the thing.
I think that's happening in other places. I think that's happening in other places.
It's like it's happening on other apps, and it doesn't make sense to single out this one thing, this one company, as opposed to when this is something when those issues have the potential and have been done with other social media companies.
Yeah, except I don't think that Zuck can easily change the algorithm of what people see for his own personal benefit without enough shareholders also hearing about it and raising a ruckus. And so it's where that publicly traded aspect of it works as a bit of a backstop. Whereas ByteDance does not have this problem. If they get a call from Xi Jinping that says, we want everybody to vote for Matt Gaetz, they can do it. They can program that into the algorithm where it says that Venmoing teenagers for sex is totally fine and everybody's doing it and you should vote for a guy who does it all the time. Then they're going to do it.
But then now we're just like insulting the user base at a certain point there that we think that everybody's going to then start swaying that way. I think out of all the user bases, that's not the one I would believe that would do that.
Don't think just because our left-wing people are a little bit smarter than the right wing.
I think that those content creators on there, I think it's monetary alone at this point.
Other people can make content. They can serve it fake content. It doesn't have to
matter. But that's happening.
You weren't here last week when we talked about all of the people who invested all this money in these Trump bucks because people told them that they could go cash them at Bank of America. And when they got brought to Bank of America by their kids and they couldn't cash them, they went to another Bank of America demanding to cash their Trump bucks. People are swayed. It doesn't matter who the creators are. It doesn't matter. Don't think that I'm not insulting the audience. I'm not insulting Trumpistas for being too stupid to know their ass from a hole in the ground, but they are, and they fall for it. And our people fall for it too.
But I'm just saying, I don't know where the evidence is against TikTok. Where I haven't seen them provide outside the journalists that they were following and against and that didn't seem specific to that seems specific to bad stories.
Anybody in China log on to TikTok?
I don't know that.
No, they can't.
I don't know.
It's blocked by the Great
Firewall. I think you meant the Chinese government. Can they log into?
No, can the people of China log into
No,
TikTok?
they have their own version.
But they
have their own version.
Carefully.
Yes, they have their own version.
Which
is
making them not ask, hey, what's going on with the Uyghurs? If you got on Chinese TikTok and made a video about, hey, what's going on in Xinjiang, nobody would see it.
To my knowledge, in TikTok, that's not being blocked though right now. I think you can go on TikTok and find stuff about the Uyghurs.
American TikTok, sure. For now,
I think this is a heavy-handed fucking bill. It's not going to pass. It's legally doesn't even make legally. I think as well too.
There's a whole nother aspect to this, which is to say, let's say they say, all right, fine, we'll sell it, and they sell it to somebody. Not Steve Mnuchin.
Yeah, because then that's better, right? That's better, right?
It's not better. But let's say they sell it to some company who nobody's heard of.
Who Steve Mnuchin actually runs.
Or whatever. But there's no way I'm gonna believe that isn't still them. Right?
Then what are we doing this for?
Performance. Trying to get on TikTok. Haven't you been paying attention?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, the other thing is that this whole thing, the whole thing with the bill that's been passed is so disingenuous because of how it's like you were saying, this whole idea that they have to divest within 6 months, which is most likely not going to happen. because that's just like that's not how business works.
Right.
And I'm just like, so what the thing is, like, that's why a lot of people are just simply calling it a ban, because it's designed to do that.
Right. And then as you see what's going to happen, right? The major app stores are no longer going to carry this. Right. People who have it on their phones, you'll continue to have it, but there won't be updates that are provided to it. It's going to become inoperable very soon. Like in the 2
Or
months,
not,
3 months
'cause
after.
Let's take this back to the thing that we were going to talk to our guest about, which is we were going to ask her about she makes adult films, and there are states, Virginia being one of them, that have tried to ban.
They have the whole thing now on. So if you go on Pornhub, you can't access Pornhub in Virginia now.
Yeah, unless you turn off your location stuff on your phone. So like that's the thing is,
The
or unless you
VPNs
get a
there,
VPN or
but
whatever.
but that becomes more difficult for like
But it isn't
average
stop
use.
people.
But not average users aren't probably going to go
How many
and download a
VPNs?
VPN to
Well,
not everybody's going to do that.
In
It's the same
places-
reason, like for browsers that have like default stuff that's on there. Most people aren't changing the shit,
right? But
and that's why like the
but if
EU
it-
and places like that have better laws against shit like that.
But if you're in a place where you can't get access to things, VPNs are critical.
Yeah,
So you see them a lot in Iran and other places like that. So like there's nothing to say that the people who really want to use this wouldn't find a way around this anyway. That's how the internet works. You can't really, it's the dumbest game of whack-a-mole you've ever heard of, because the moles have every advantage here. They can make their own holes anywhere. It's about sending a message, and it's about telling people, hey, y'all need to be a lot more careful about this shit. Don't believe everything you see on TikTok. Don't
the
believe
government
everything
could
you
go
see on the
about this a
internet.
whole different
they can
fucking
invest
way.
in education.
Yeah,
and teach
like,
people
I-
how facts. and
Yeah,
truth
there's
work.
other
But
methods.
Republicans aren't going to vote for that, because then they'll find out that slavery happened.
This isn't the I find this bill to be fucking stupid. Like I get, like, it seems very political, and you could go about this in a completely different way. Also too, it seems like anti-capitalist, it seems anti-market. Like you go and you
So are tariffs.
yeah, they are exactly. Don't agree there.
Don't worry, the party of the free market is all for it. Speaking of free market, let's talk about the Glen Dome for a minute, which is not going to get built apparently.
I
No, that's
never
what you guys are-
believed it. I never
Me
believed
either.
that for a second.
Me
For a
either.
second.
So I didn't,
Because that traffic is going to back up near my neighborhood.
yeah,
And those people are already up in arms about fucking Amazon coming in there.
Yeah.
They were already up in it. They're like, how much more do you really think we're about to take here?
all right. So let's talk about two things in Alexandria. All right, one of them is the Glen Dome, which is not going to get built because the rest of the state does not see a reason to invest taxpayer money in something that has almost no return.
And the region does not want it.
Woo!
Okay,
Woo!
which Brian and I had a big
Woo!
fight about that before y'all got here.
Ugh.
But the other thing I want to highlight is that Hazel popped out on the other end of the tunnel today. Hazel is the drilling machine that has been working under City of Alexandria now for about 2 years. It's dug a almost 3 mile tunnel, 2.5 mile tunnel under Alexandria to be a storage tunnel for rainwater, much like the ones in DC that DC Water has dug 3 of.
Yeah.
They've done something similar. So the days of Huntington flooding every time it rains are over.
And these things work.
They do work. It's brilliant. It's a huge investment. It's so underground you didn't even know it was happening, but it is the kind of thing that makes things better. And that's the infrastructure investment that we really need to see. Stadiums.
Yeah.
Capital One Arena is perfectly fine.
Not only
Tell
is
that.
it perfectly
Tell that
fine.
to,
Hold on.
that to our friend.
Hold on. Calm down, Brian. The MCI
Him and
Center
Leonsis.
yeah, Brian Leonsis is mad. The MCI Center is one of the few stadiums in the history of publicly financed stadiums that has actually paid itself back. And that was due to the council and Tony Williams doing some very creative stuff with taxation around in the surrounding areas and the way that they structured all of the rules and all of that stuff. If you want a good example, this is what I was telling Brian earlier. Take a look at the Rams. All right. The Rams are an NFL team that most people think of as being from Los Angeles, but some people think of as being from St. Louis.
I've always thought of them as being.
They were originally from Chicago.
And here's why. They were in Los Angeles, and they wanted a new stadium. They said the Coliseum sucks. And they said, hey, build us a new stadium. And the people of California and Los Angeles were
Well,
like,
this is that's a tactic that's deployed by teams all the time.
So they were like, no dice. And so they were like, fuck y'all, we're leaving. And they went to St. Louis. And they said, St. Louis, build us a stadium. St. Louis said, we will gladly build you a stadium. They built them a stadium.
GWA Dome.
Yeah, and they promised that it would make its money back, and they promised it was going to be great for the people and all of that stuff. And they were there for 20 years. And at the end,
Won a Super Bowl.
yeah, they did win a Super Bowl with the grocery store clerk.
Yeah.
And they said, build us a new stadium. It's been 20 years. And the people of St. Louis said, we're still trying to pay off this one. And they were like, but we won you a Super Bowl and prestige and all that stuff. And people of St. Louis were like, but we're broke and we can't afford this current stadium. No. And so the Rams were like, fuck you. And they went back to Los Angeles to do what? Play in the Coliseum that they left until they got a new stadium built.
Yeah, they're in SoFi right now, right?
Yeah, they are in SoFi.
But
which is
didn't
a
he
dual
build
purpose.
that? He built that.
No, the league built that.
The league built that. Yes.
The
The league
people
built
of
that.
California did not.
No, that's
build
what I'm
it.
saying, though. They did not. That's what I'm saying.
The lesson here is that generally speaking, north of 90% of the time, publicly financed stadiums do not pay off. And so for years, we all bought this myth. I certainly bought it. It's not true. It's just not true. And even more to the point is that while I live in Northern Virginia and you live in Northern Virginia and you live close enough that you could enjoy the amenity of this being in Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Nobody
No one else.
in Richmond, Norfolk, or anywhere else gives a shit about Alexandria, Virginia. And they don't care about them getting the prestige for a team whose name is Washington. It's just not worth
I
it.
thought people from Virginia would like Washington.
You would think he is
Shit,
a
he is.
Virginian.
Commanders, but
He is a Virginian.
He
But
is.
so here's what happened. They proposed this stadium and they proposed Virginia funding it. But before they even got it to the State House in Richmond, Ted Leonsis and Glenn Youngkin announced that it was a done deal. Muriel was like, hey, we'll give you $500 million if you just stick around. And they told her publicly to fuck off. And then they voted on it down in Richmond.
Thank you, Louise Lucas.
Louise Lucas
Louise
and the
Lucas
rest of the
said-
folks in the Tidewater were like, hey, man, we don't want to pay for this. And they were like, what do you mean? We already said it was going to happen. And she was like, well, you should have gotten us
You
first.
can't, but you are not a unilateral executive.
Yeah, it doesn't work
You
that
can't
way.
do that.
So you need.
I know that's what you guys think. That's what you believe in.
That may be how shit went down at the Carlisle group.
I was going to say exactly.
But the unitary executive does not carry in Richmond, and so therefore it failed. Session's over. No money was appropriated for it. It's a done deal.
What about a special session?
He can call it.
He can
That's
call
not
it.
going to happen.
He's not gonna get anything.
Now the Democratic controlled legislature.
No
And
way
it's
in
a
hell.
it's a fair point that nobody downstate wants to pay for this. I get it. And I, as a Northern Virginia resident, my kids' schools are overcrowded. We need money for teachers. We need money for fire trucks and shit. I don't really want to pay for this either. Doesn't help me. Not one iota. The study that
And you
they
say that as a
cited-
Caps fan. Right?
as a Caps fan, as a Bullets fan, which is a risky thing to say publicly.
Just
when-
go back to US Air Arena.
Cap Center.
it's a mall right now.
Yeah.
Nominally, it's a mall.
Yeah. It's a dead mall.
Yeah,
All right. But
every mall.
when they made the predictions about how this thing could somehow pay for itself, we now have the data on how they got these numbers. It was based on this idea that people were going to pay $75 for parking.
Oh,
And what was
They
the
were going to
hotel?
pay $730 a night for a hotel to stay in Potomac Yard.
Potomac Yard. yeah.
What?
And that they were going to hold 53 events
More?
a year outside of the sports events, which is more than one a week on top of all of the games. I don't know how they're going to fit that in because I don't know if you've looked at an NBA and an NHL schedule, but there's not a lot of extra space.
No, there isn't.
Sometimes there's games like a day, they got to flip the ice in one day. This is ludicrous. And the study was compiled by a group in Maryland.
Of course.
Glenn Youngkin. The fuck, man.
And now DC will overpay for our upgrades.
Well, so what's going to happen, right?
yeah, well, no, this
Uncle
council.
Teddy's got to go back. And,
Yeah, and it's already
say,
done
"All
deal.
right,
It's
you know
already-
what, never mind. I'm coming back.
The council's already passed it. Like, do you remember they passed this already?
They passed it.
Oh, they should just amend it.
undo it.
They should amend it and just to punish him. Just like add a bunch of stuff that just humiliates him.
I would. I think he should have to go back hat in hand and be like, okay, I fucked up.
With
I
his
mean,
dick in his hand.
yeah, sure. I was that hat, but yeah. I don't know what you do with your hat, but
More humiliating.
yeah.
It is more humiliating.
Is it?
Unless he has a humiliation kink, and that would just make him happy. So no.
And you know they're building that. You know that new football. That football stadium's getting built on the river
They
again.
got the deal back.
That's
from-
done. That's gonna be. That's a
Congress
done.
is going to give RFK.
That's
back
a
to-
done
back to
deal.
the district,
That's a
so-
done deal. So we're about to give. There's gonna be somewhere upwards of.
Are they? They're finally tearing it down this year, right?
Well, they're not
Well-
tearing it
They're
down yet.
supposed
They got to get approval. We are on
Because I was there last year for the cannabis festival that was at the fairgrounds, the fairgrounds that are next door, and I hadn't been near RFK in years.
Yeah.
So being there and actually getting out and seeing it, I was like, "Oh, this is a disaster."
It's a
Yes,
shell.
to-
Yeah, it's,
Terrible.
It's falling apart, but it still belongs to Congress,
Yeah.
and so Congress has to give it back to the district. But that did get through committee, and it's probably
That's gonna happen.
So
They're gonna build that. They're gonna build a huge stadium on the river there. They're gonna. That's going to happen.
Where RFK is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna do that. They're gonna $1 billion. That'll be her last
Yeah.
legacy.
Well, now that they don't have to deal with Snyder anymore.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's deal done. on
Muriel
that.
worked the long game.
That'll be her legacy
She
too.
outlasted Danny,
Yeah,
and it's gonna be the Muriel Bowser Memorial
stadium.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
some
Yeah,
shit like
it's
that.
gonna be
It is gonna be that
It's
at one.
gonna
be-
At one point, it's gonna be that.
called the Marion Barry
Muriel
Muriel
Bowser
Bowser
Memorial Stadium. There you go. Exactly.
Because
That,
everything in DC has to be named after Barry.
yes.
All right, so that's the Glendome. Other stuff. Charlie, Tez, do you enjoy the emus?
Emu.
Yeah.
And Doug.
Well, and again with the children, you have
Yes.
Sean the emu
I'm not. That's it.
from Bluey.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. God.
Sean's a big
Yes.
deal.
Jesus Christ. How did I forget that?
So yeah, even my baby can do Sean. Emus, they're cute and delicious.
They are delicious.
Also, we skipped Brian's opinion on the stadium. You see how deftly I did that? Um,
You can
Emus-
shut this
We
off.
got another segment.
Yeah.
Emus have larger, more delicious cousins called ostriches.
I've had that as well. It's very
Also
delicious.
very delicious. And then there were llamas. I don't think anybody's eating the llamas, but they were
I hope
definitely
not.
No, but they were cuddling them.
Cuddling the llamas.
Yeah, llamas like alpacas and guanacos are made of sweaters.
They
so
are.
what you
Soft
do,
ones.
yeah, is you get a llama and you shave it, and then you have a sweater, and then you wait a little while and it grows you a new sweater. So a llama is a,
Self-sustaining sweatshop.
Yeah.
I love it.
Reuse and recycle.
yeah, a llama is a miracle resource that turns grass into sweaters.
Yeah.
Our Rumpelstiltskin was smart. All right, so for a while there was like a shit ton of emu, ostrich, and llama farms in this country.
I went to. I remember when I was in middle school. I went to an emu farm in Maryland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I met a few emus at like petting zoos and stuff, but they were few and far between. But here's some really interesting graphics, okay, from this story.
It's a segment called Maps.
If Brian has, but here's a map
Hey, there they are.
that shows llamas on farms in 2002, which is,
That's a lot of fucking llamas.
that's a lot of llamas. It's a lot of llamas.
Especially
Llama,
in our
llama,
area.
Llama, duck. And, they're well
Yes.
spread. Yeah.
He's
The-
a
the
llama, there's a
llama
llama, and another little llama.
Yeah, right. The internet helped. So now fast forward to 2022. Where's all the llamas at? Texas, apparently.
Sorry, llamas.
In Oregon. But like it's really sparse. Look at the difference. People lost interest in llamas.
I mean, are they not making money anymore?
It's not like the llamas stopped being made of sweaters. So I don't know. It's a weird trend. It continues.
No longer in vogue.
Yeah. Well, maybe on
Maybe
cover.
yes.
All right. The trend continues. Let's take a look at ostriches. Now, granted, many fewer ostriches than
Besides
llamas.
that one place in Southern
But
California.
Southern California was a hotbed of ostriches.
They all moved to Tucson and New Hampshire, apparently.
It looks like the Phoenix population stayed very, very strong.
They're following the water.
Yeah,
That's Tucson area.
Is that
There
Tucson? There
yeah,
you go.
Tucson, Southwest Arizona.
And Concord and Manchester, New Hampshire, was apparently.
I think they're registered to vote in the primaries there.
Well, they are tall enough. Yeah, that's how that works. I feel like what happened to the 3 ostriches in Montana? They're all gone. There was one in North Dakota, but nothing in South Dakota.
Greg Gianforte body slammed them.
They body slammed. They had a fight with the ostriches. Good on the Texas ostriches for standing up for Texas. And there's a few in Florida. There's more in Florida now.
Of course, like everyone else, they're moving to Florida.
Yeah, but ostriches are from Africa, so I was very surprised that DeSantis was okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at emus. Now, you may know that emus are Australian. So, of course, they're mostly in Texas, which is, southern
Yeah, it's like
Australia,
United,
southern Texas.
Exactly.
Where everything there either wants to kill or eat you.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's true, just like Texas. And lots of them in Florida and Alabama.
A shitload in North Carolina.
Yeah. So
What
in
happened?
South Carolina too. It's got a big bubble of them there. And Tennessee, surprisingly, heavy on the emus. By 2022, take a look at the West Coast for a second. Got a lot more sparse, still a bit in Northern California, a little bit around,
They lost rights
the
in Texas.
Pacific Northwest. Yeah, in Texas, they pro-row, and so they left. But look at what happened at the border of Virginia and North Carolina. They all moved to one place. That is where all the emus in all the United States all concentrated into this one giant blob.
It's not
They
free range.
consolidated.
Yeah. Aren't we supposed to have like an antitrust rule about that or something? You can't be like all the emus in one place. What's going on?
Antitrust wildlife rules.
Right.
That's crazy.
WWF.
WWE.
No, WWF, the
emus.
World Wildlife Federation.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's the
that's
one.
it.
There you go.
Foundation.
There it is. Thank you.
Right. All right. So that was a bit about the emus. So now we've come to this makeup section of the show, which is where we want to talk about free agency and baseball hopes.
Oh, we're not talking about Arsenal moving on in the Champions League?
No.
Oh, no one's talking about that.
Nobody
No one's
cares.
talking about that one, huh? Penalties.
You beat Liverpool.
We didn't beat Liverpool. We
No, you
beat
didn't.
Porto to go
Yeah.
on to
I saw
the
Liverpool
round
To
eight.
the UEFA champions.
I saw
Yes.
Liverpool
Okay.
play last year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, when I was in London, my mom got really into Ted Lasso. She's actually got really into soccer. And so while we were over there, I was like, hey, do you want to go see a Premier League game? She was like, yeah, let's do that. So we went to see West Ham play Liverpool.
And they got creamed.
Liverpool won 2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to FanFest, by the way, in Nashville. So
Oh, wow. Have
yeah,
fun with
I'm
that.
gonna have to. I'm gonna have
That's
to
gonna
wear
be
my
fun.
Everton jersey, and
Oh,
it's gonna be really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I've got my idiot Liverpool friends talking about the Klopp Drupal, which is very annoying and insulting, and
Hey, well,
I
we're
wish-
marching on to try to win the league.
I wish death upon them. But yeah, good.
We're marching on to win. We're
good
top
luck
of the
for
league
you.
right now.
for a minute.
Look, Man City,
Liverpool,
right?
and-
Man City, right after the international break for us. That's where we can seal it. We can seal it there.
That's it.
We can seal
All right,
it.
City. That's not what we're going to talk about.
All right.
We
Okay.
can talk soccer later. Free
We're
agency
talking-
is happening. We're talking real football.
Oh, no.
Um,
Oh, no. All right, I'm going home.
All right, so Washington made a bunch of moves. We signed a bunch of second tier guys, which is good for
We're really
rebuilding,
talking this free agent.
kind of camping out or
You
whatever.
traded the fucking quarterback, right?
Traded him
Somehow.
for 2 draft picks that are going to amount to probably not much.
And sign Mariota.
And now the starting
What?
quarterback
They
of the
signed
Washington
Mariota?
football team is Marcus Mariota. That's
such a
that is
Washington
true.
move.
Yeah, very. Because we let Brissett go back to the Patriots somehow. I don't know. Howell's going off to compete with Geno Smith in Seattle. It's a crazy sentence.
Geno Smith back.
Meh,
Back.
maybe.
Actually,
Back. Had a great season.
yeah.
Joey Flacco got $8.7
He
million.
screwed me with my fantasy league last year.
Look.
Kirk Cousins went to Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's a wild time. Aaron Jones went to Minnesota. Saquon went to the Eagles.
Yeah.
What is with these people moving within the same division? That seems ridiculous to me.
Oh, you guys got Henry, right?
Yeah,
we got Henry, but oh God, I hate to say this, but the one that we drafted 4 years ago goes to our biggest rival, Patrick Queen.
Yeah,
and that sort of like, even though Eric DaCosta was asked that question when Derrick Henry was introduced today, pretty much he said, very politically saying it's like, oh, we had some highs, we had some lows, during this free agency, but the Patrick Queen one was that hurt because you groomed him to turn on us, and I view it as, since Charlie is here, I'm reminded of Revenge of the Sith at the end where it's like, Obi-Wan says, "You were my brother," and that's what it was.
You were supposed to be the chosen one.
You were
yeah.
the chosen one, and that's what it felt like. So, but overall, I think a lot of these whatever trades or free agent stuff, I saw that
Russell Wilson is in Pittsburgh.
That's where he ended up.
Yeah,
but Denver's still paying him.
Yeah, of course.
So that was, to me, that's like a sign and trade type of thing. Curtis Samuels, former commander, he goes to Buffalo. To be honest with you, the one I would say is the Russell Wilson among the quarterbacks is the Russell Wilson, because of the fact that how I viewed it as Denver was really a good place for him. It was, but unfortunately, whatever the front office in Denver had their mindset is ridiculous.
I don't think Russell and Sean Payton got along.
No, they didn't. No, it's like a lot of the rumor mills, or even the truths, some of the truths about Russell calling out old Seattle plays and stuff like that. And I mean, he was still trying to learn the system because he was in Seattle for over a decade, and him going to a new spot. Yeah, it's a little change. You got to deal with it. But I think when Sean Payton came in, it's like, the Denver front office says, "Hey, Sean, do your thing. Try to, because you won a Super Bowl. Do your thing." And
you won a Super Bowl, but paying defenses to kill people.
Right. Well, no, that was his.
No, that was him. He served
him and his defense, mainly his defensive coordinator, because he allowed it.
For that.
But he allowed that. But the whole point is I just think Russell Wilson coming to the AFC North will be very interesting, because even though based off his record, it's a positive record, but one, he was in Seattle when he did it.
The Ravens defense is going to make him retire.
And that's the other thing.
That's 100% what's going to happen. They're gonna pound him into his turf.
But here's the real big thing: Dallas hasn't done anything.
That's not true.
No,
they wasted money on some people.
But based off of a lot of the people that have been available out there, they've done nothing, and which is kind of surprising.
I do not understand offensive players moving within the same division. It does not make sense. So Saquon going from the Giants to the Eagles makes no sense, because
it probably makes a lot of sense in signing bonuses and
and money, but in terms of like success, it's not there, because you're still up against defenses who know you better than anybody, and now you're up against your former team's defense. The only defense he's avoiding is the Eagles' defense.
But the thing is here's the thing. Well, mind you, the Giants haven't improved their defense, so that's
I understand that.
But here's
Aaron Jones doing the same thing, going from Green Bay to Minnesota. Like, why are running backs moving within the same division? It makes no sense.
Because again,
Henry going to you.
Well, Derrick Henry has been in our division at all ever since we faced him a few times. You faced him a few times, but the thing is, let's put it this way. I think nowadays, because some of the running backs nowadays, they're they are kind of been undervalued.
I was gonna say, take whatever damn job you can
Highly
get.
undervalued.
Change the rookie contract to 3 years and let running backs have a chance.
But they try. But at the same time, you have to look at the fact that, even with some of the college players, they're okay. But really, I view it as this: college football is a joke based off of how it's played. Because it's like
them's fighting words, Brian.
we can fight later.
We should have talked about Nick Saban and his comments sitting next to Ted Cruz.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's the other thing.
About NIL and
but that's the other thing.
Crying because now everybody has a chance.
Right.
Versus just him.
Well, there we go.
Guy.
That's the other thing, because I think nowadays
he donates to our side.
I think nowadays a lot of pro teams, let's sticking to football, I think they're going to reevaluate how to evaluate up and coming college players because of the NIL, because you're seeing guys moving left and right after a season. So getting some of these prime running backs now that who have been playing for even between post rookie contract year up until, let's say, 8 or 9, let's be fully honest, running backs in the NFL don't last no more than 6 years.
Frank Gore's an anomaly.
Yeah,
sure.
There'll be anomalies.
4 years.
Yeah, but at best it's roughly up to 6 years at best.
Yeah.
So getting Barkley, which keep in mind, Eagles are getting Barkley is a big deal, but let's be honest, that dude is injury prone.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's be honest, he's injury prone. So whatever, and the Eagles gave away Swift during this whole free agency thing. So really, it's a risk for them. So we'll see what happens.
Eagles trade Zach Ertz end up on the Redskins. So that's, or football team, whatever we're called these days.
Yeah.
We signed him to a 1-year deal.
Isn't Eckler here too?
Yeah.
Eckler, and then mind you,
former Chargers great.
Which will be very interesting.
Oh,
so
God, this is
because here's the thing.
Y'all running the same play again.
Yeah, because
exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah, because a lot of these guys who were on, are on teams that look like they were trying to build something great are getting disbanded. And the Eagles, let's be honest, the Eagles, they let go a lot of their guys, and a couple of them retired. So really, Eagles are, the way I see it, they're going to be rebuilding.
They got to rebuild.
They're rebuilding.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They've already given the quarterback money, right? He's already
set.
Oh yeah. So that's when it all falls apart.
Well, they got to build around Hurts.
Yeah. The modern, and like from what I've seen, the modern NFL is you get a rookie quarterback that you don't have to pay a lot. You build around that. I think even you look at Russell Wilson in Seattle. Like, when they had to pay the defense, when they had to pay him, you can no longer pay the defense. And then all this shit falls apart. I think you'll probably see this happen in Miami, right? Another place you have to pay too.
You're seeing that in a lot of places. That's why I think, trying to keep quote unquote the franchise quarterback that you drafted is going to be more and more difficult, even though the league got a $30 million bump in the salary cap.
That's not enough.
It's true. It's not enough. So
that's
because
players,
and that's why I had a discussion about the Chiefs saying, they get a premier receiver and all that stuff. They just picked up, our former receiver, Marquise Brown. It's like they're not financially be able to get a top-notch, high-price receiver
unless
like
they
that.
do like the Patriots did, where people are willing to take less than their value.
Patrick Mahomes ain't taking all less money.
See, that's another.
That shit is terrible.
I think
the player union probably trying to destroy that. They're going to destroy that. The hell you mean take less money?
That's a control thing, because that's how he saw it. Because he was the GM of that whole thing,
right?
So he was
won championships, and it was a way to get to it. All right. Speaking of championships, baseball is coming up.
Yes.
Okay, we're in preseason now. So on
spring training.
Yes. Keep it right. Keep saying
what the
right.
hell is going on?
Baseball says spring training. We don't do preseason.
It's preseason. It's
spring
training,
games, aren't we?
Spring training.
Okay, but they're preseason games.
They're spring training games.
Yeah, spring training games are exhibition
games. Yeah.
Fine. Okay, but on the 28th. The Orioles have our opening day.
Yes.
And on that day, noted baseball expert Dan Formosa is going to be on our show, having rewritten this year's, or I guess he didn't have to rewrite anything this year, but the book that we helped him write with the new baseball rules. I was very instrumental in crafting the new rules for Major League Baseball. So he's going to be on the show, and we're going to get to celebrate the return of baseball.
I'm excited.
Who's your opening series against?
Pittsburgh, I believe. I'm pretty sure.
We're playing the Angels.
Yeah,
We no longer have Shohei Ohtani.
I'm pretty sure we play Pittsburgh.
And we're playing them in Baltimore, so they're going to be time shifted and everything. It's going to be great. We're going to possibly win. I'm excited. Charlie, your hopes for baseball? Minuscule at best.
I don't want the Mets to do well.
Yes!
Spoken like a true Nats fan.
Yes! Yes!
And
I
typically
don't
towards
want
the
them. Don't want the Mets to do well.
Yes, you're to be to
Yes.
verify. Tez,
Monday.
It is the Pirates and April 1st.
April 1st.
On
the
April
Pirates.
Fool's Day.
Gotta figure out how I get that. That's gonna be a tricky one to get out of work for.
Say you have to go to the game. It's
at 4 or 5.
Ah, it's at 4 or 5. That's perfect. Yeah.
You're already not working by then.
That's School's out by then. No, yeah, we'll make a thing of it.
Take the kids to
I need to take Tuesday off. Is what I need to do.
Yes.
That's what I need to do.
Right.
that's
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 All
why.
right. So we're only 10 minutes over. Or
Wow.
An hour and 10 minutes.
Hour
over,
and 10
whatever.
minutes over.
We're doing fine. We've come to the end of the show.
Made it.
Which is fantastic. I was
Early
very
today.
surprised. Yeah, we're sort of on time. So we need to say thank you to our guests who couldn't make it.
Yes.
Miss Sarah St. Clair, sorry about the technical
We will
difficulty.
reschedule.
We'll reschedule that.
But we have a guest that did make it.
Thank you to
Thank you,
Charlie
sir.
for being much more reliable than adult film actors.
They work hard. I'm not going to swear. They work hard.
They do work hard.
Yeah, hard. Nothing? Okay.
That one needs-
Thanks.
This dick. There it is. There it is. A classy show we are.
It's fantastic. All right.
Love it.
Thanks to all of our radio partners, iPods, Rio Players, and Zunes.
Hey.
Thanks to NOTN for keeping us on for another week. Also, shout out, we only played a little bit of his music, but Key Wayne Baltimore has
Yes.
got
Shout out
unreleased
to Key
music that
Wayne.
he gave us for tonight to get to play. So go back and listen to it, and we will not post the links to that because it's not fair and it hasn't been released. But
Yeah.
stay tuned because it's coming out. It's going to be great.
You can just keep playing our show over and over again.
Yeah,
here.
just listen to it all the time. Let's see. Thanks to NOTN, speaking of New Orleans, for keeping us on for another week or not, don't know. Thanks to our home on the interwebs, coplaymedia.com. And thanks, as always, to our family here at Beltway Radio for making us sound as smooth as the VPNs in Richmond. All right, where can everybody get you on the social medias and stuff?
You can follow me on Twitter at Charles Bright, and you can follow my writings at Gold Derby.
There you go. All right, Tez, where can they get you?
You can find me. I'm back on Twitter because it's
Are you?
baseball
It's
season.
baseball
It's baseball season. And now I just weave
If you
in.
see cryptic tweets, it's about baseball.
It is. And now I just weave in, like, hold on. I should read one now because I weave.
Monetary policy.
It is. I
and
weave in.
baseball.
What's my last one on here? Hold on. I weave in, societal
Sometimes
shit.
I'll post something angry and people are like, "What happened?" I'm like, "It's about soccer. Calm down."
There you go. Exactly. I have my scarf on.
Yeah.
Where's my last?
You're looking up Twitter.
No, here it is. I said it's my last thing. I was like, Patrick Corbin is going to disappoint me, right? Just like the
Probably.
impending fascism you pine for.
There you go.
And now I just
that was
weave
the
these
double.
things.
You got
I
it
weave.
together.
I weave these into now.
Baseball and social commentary. It's what you come to this show for.
Which
right.
no one is listening to.
Where
But
can they get
on
you?
you can get that great commentary
Yeah.
at DC Cortez on Twitter or X, or whatever the fuck you're calling it. You can find me at Catch McCordy on Instagram. And if you're ever on that flaming, or you can find me being a flaming liberal in the flaming liberal bastion of Blue Sky at
There
DC
you go.
Cortez.
All right, and you can find me and the show on the Twitter at ChipChatRR. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram at RipChipChat. And you can, of course, find us every Thursday night here on Beltway Radio and Beyond. I'm Chip. That's Charlie. That says you've been listening to Chip Chat on Beltway Radio and Beyond.
Sweeps!